D. Mace Finnegan and Donick 1025 The Game, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you on a Friday afternoon. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day. Weekend is almost here. How is everybody else doing today?
Hey, I'm doing wonderful, man. How about yourself? I see you're not really doing that well, Adam, because you keep getting spam calls.
So yesterday, we bookended our program, first with Derek, then with me, talking about receiving those ludicrous spam text messages. I kid you not, today I have received no fewer than 15 spam emails from 15 different names, 15 different addresses. They're all for the same thing, so I can't block them all. Somebody was listening.
You know what? I got this text the other day. I did erase it because I erased it and put spam. But they grouped about 30 people in one and text everybody. And the last guy, I guess he just got peeved off. He started sending F's, this and that. Don't ever text me again. And I'm looking at it like, is he talking to me? I'm not the one doing it. But he effed everybody. He was just like, don't you ever text me again. And he was trying to spam the spammer because if you send a bunch of texts, it supposedly messes up your phone because my son does it to me. I think it messes up my phone. But anyway, yeah, he was sending that. I'm thinking like, dude, calm down. Other people are on this call or on this text chain too.
I was wondering, as Adam said that, if somebody was listening yesterday and said, oh, you think that was bad? You're mad you got it. Now we'll show you what spam's all about. Here come 15 of them. Somebody in charge of the spam hit a button and said, Vingan.
Let me tell you some of the names I have received in these spam emails. They're all the same. They come from different people. All right. Here's a sampling. Raymond Wysocki, Ernesto Camacho, Luisa Henriquez, Jeffrey Westfall, Sally Abrahamson.
Okay.
Donna MacDonald.
Is that old McDonald's?
Alfredo Alvarez. And Boris Braginski.
Okay. Is he a boxer?
He might be.
Boris Braginski, he sounds like he could have been one of the opponents in Punch-Out.
Yeah.
After Glass Joe,
definitely, yes.
Piston Hurricane, and Ball Bull.
Then him.
So I have been inundated with these spam emails. Hopefully they will stop so I am not distracted during the show. Of course, The Tennessee Titans take the field for their first preseason action tomorrow night in Tampa against the Buccaneers, and we will talk about that game and what we hope to see from Cam Ward and the Tennessee Titans. Ask D-Mace coming up at around 4:30. Chad Withrow from Hot Mic with Hutton and Withrow will join us at 5 o'clock. But I want to start today looking at some of the preseason action in the NFL last night. And let's start with Anthony Richardson in the Indianapolis Colts. We talked about Anthony Richardson a little bit yesterday. He is in a quarterback competition against Daniel Jones. And stop me if you've heard this one before, but Anthony Richardson suffered an injury last night. It was not a serious injury, a dislocated right pinky. I don't know if you've seen the picture of the dislocated right pinky.
Saw it.
It was nasty. It's not expected to keep him out long. He may even practice this weekend. But did you see the play that led to the injury? An unblocked Ravens linebacker absolutely trucked Anthony Richardson last night.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did see that play, and it's unfortunate for him. Now, I've seen a few people, even quarterbacks, break it down and, indicate that it was more on Richardson than it was the tackle or the running back. And I truly believe that, because if you see how the play was going and the offensive line was blocking, he's your hot route. You got to know that end is coming off depending on how you're blocking in it, how you're down blocking. And there's going to be, if they rush that in, there's going to be a free guy. That back went straight to the flat. That should have told him, I got to hit the flat. There's nobody to pick this guy up. There's a unblocked man, and you're responsible for that unblocked man. Now, I could say that maybe before the snap, they would have warned him, they would have pointed it out, and maybe his attention would have been drawn over there. But as a quarterback, those are the things that you need to see and you need to be aware of, because if you don't, you're going to find yourself on your back like Richardson did last night, and he ended up getting hurt. Luckily for him, it's not a major injury. It's not even on his throwing hand, I don't believe. I think it's on his left hand.
It is on his throwing hand.
It's on his throwing hand. So he's going to be out for the rest of the remainder of camp, and that may hurt him in regards to where he stands on the depth chart.
I feel like that used to happen to Jake Locker sometimes.
Yeah, you don't know that offense and defense.
Just a breakdown in where you know the rush or should know where the rush is coming. It didn't slide the protection or didn't understand what's there. We were watching Chase Daniels breakdown of it. Like he
called
did
it a sift block. That's what he called it.
Yeah, and it did look like everybody was on the same page except the quarterback. But it is also a good example. Like, I'm glad he was there to explain it to me, because I might have been that guy going, what happened to the offensive line? Because that is something that you do have to understand what the play is designed to do. We had a great discussion earlier this week on Sean Payton's adage that sacks are a quarterback stat. Now, that might have been an example of what he was talking about there, because if he understood where the heat was coming from, he probably had an outlet there, but instead he gets hurt.
And this is what I explained, last week when we were talking about this. Like, the quarterbacks, like, you have to know what's going on, because on defense, if one guy breaks down, he may fall into a sack. He may fall into an interception. But if one guy breaks down on offense, you see what happens to the quarterback. And it was the quarterback that broke the play down, not the offensive lineman, nor was it the running back. The running back did exactly what he was supposed to do. The offensive lineman was sift blocking. It was an unblocked guy. That's your man, Richardson. Either you're going to dodge him and get some yardage up the field, or you're going to hit that flat. And he didn't. That's what separates the guys that are ready to play and the guys that are not. That's something that shouldn't have happened to him. He's the third-year player.
I saw this great meme retweeted into my timeline from Justin McMahon, and it has a picture of Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill in Moneyball, with Jonah Hill at the whiteboard talking to Brad Pitt playing Billy Bean. And it says, Billy, this is Anthony Richardson. He has all the physical attributes of an absolutely elite quarterback. He can throw the ball a mile, and he's a great runner. His only defect is that he has no idea how to play the position.
Yeah, pretty much so at the NFL level.
Which is a bit of a problem.
He's on the ground floor. When it comes to the NFL level, he's basically on the ground floor, because the first season was a wash. The second season was really a wash because he got hurt, and now he gets hurt again. This man, he's starting below, if there is such thing. That's where he's at right now. And if Daniel Jones come out and shows anything and that offense is moving, he will never see underneath center again as a starter for the Indianapolis Colts.
Daniel Jones didn't have a great day yesterday, at least completion percentage wise. 10 of 21 for 144 yards. But Anthony Richardson wasn't the only notable. Well, Anthony Richardson isn't a rookie, pardon me. But with Cam Ward prepared to start his first NFL game unofficially, there were other notable rookies who played last night. Staying in Indianapolis, Tyler Warren, the tight end, caught all 3 passes on which he was targeted, 40 receiving yards in the process, had a 23-yard reception from Daniel Jones on the slant route, and had 14 yards after the catch. I have a sneaking suspicion that Tyler Warren is going to be a thorn in the Tennessee Titans side for a long time. I don't know why, but I think it's going to happen.
I predict this. He will be the best player in this year's draft.
Really?
He will be this kid,
because that's what the Colts have lacked.
Yeah,
right. They need a guy like
tight
that.
Well,
and anybody who's a game-changing skill guy, other than the running back, right?
But Indianapolis is always used to having that tight end. You know, tight end that can get vertical down the field.
Dallas Green.
Yes, absolutely. Dallas Clark.
Dallas Clark. Dallas Green was a baseball manager. What am I thinking?
But no, they had Clark. They had a few other guys that played really well for them and allowed them to hit those seams. If you watched him play in college at Penn State,
oh man, he was
a man amongst boys. He truly and he was versatile. He could play running back, he could play quarterback. You can line him up at receiver, you can line him up at tight end. Whatever you want. He's, to me, this season, I think he's going to have the biggest impact of any rookie this year because of what they need out of that position and what they're used to having at that position. They are going to target that time. He's a matchup problem for anybody.
Jalen Milroe got some playing time for the Seattle Seahawks last night. By the way, is there anything more torturous than a preseason tie? Because the Raiders and Seahawks, 23-23, a preseason tie. But Jalen Milroe, 6 of 10 for 61 yards passing, 3 carries for 38 rushing with a long of 27. So Jalen Milroe flashed his talent last night for the Seahawks, albeit in a tie. It's better than a loss. I guess.
I mean, he don't have the L on his record, on his resume.
But we saw Jalen Milroe up close at Alabama. He was a 4th round draft pick, I want to say. And I liked what I saw in limited action. So I wonder how the Seahawks are going to use him this season.
I think he's going to be their backup. They're going to try to develop him like every other team has tried to develop, a 4th round pick, especially at quarterback, because he brings a skill set that the NFL is leaning toward more and more. Just a guy that's elusive underneath center, a guy that can buy you some time, a guy that can run. But more importantly, it's a guy that if you're in a bad position, he can get you out of it because of his athleticism. But then on top of that, he has to be able to, get the ball down the field, read the defenses the way they need to be read. And that's why I believe he's going to, he's going to be the 3rd quarterback more than likely. Maybe the 2nd, but more than likely the 3rd. You draft him in the 4th round, you want to develop him. Because in college, he went through 2 or 3 OCs at Alabama. Because he was there with Nick Saban for 2 years, right?
I don't remember.
He might have been there with Nick Saban for 2 and then DeBoer for the last 2. No, he was with DeBoer 1 year. So he was with Saban all the years there.
Yeah, presumably that's 2 different coordinators.
Yeah, they changed. They've had at least 2 to 3 different coordinators. So, I mean, he's just a developing player. You like what you saw last night, but he has a long way to go.
I wonder if they would he's the type of player who is such a talent.
Mm-hmm.
Would you put him in situations like, there's some teams through the years you can think about them the Titans even did it with Mariota on occasion after Tannehill became the starter. But
they tried to do it with Malik.
Cordell Stewart. Yeah. I wonder if you would think about doing that with Milroe just for here and there. Now because they signed Darnold, right? He's going to be, they went out of their way. They were the team that bit. There were a lot of people here that thought the Titans should bite and go for Darnold. The Seahawks did it, but now they've got Milroe. But just be curious if you could work him in there at all.
I'm sure if McDonald found a way, he could be beneficial within their offense.
Do you like that? Like if you're on that offense and there's a package for a guy that's completely different, do you like that in an offense, or does that throw the rhythm of the offense?
No, but I don't want a gimmick guy. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't want a guy that can't pass the ball.
Like the Ravens did it with Lamar Jackson for a while. At the end of the Flacco and the beginning of the Jackson, there was a little bit of let's get Lamar in there a little bit.
Exactly. But then they were limited in what they can do because, Lamar hadn't developed to that point. So as a receiver, it's like, okay, I get the gimmicks, but we got to be able to put him in, and still pass the football. We can't just put him in and just run plays every time and gimmick plays. It may work here and there, but if you're going to give him, say, 45 plays, about 100 plays a season, his first season, at least 15 of them need to be pass plays too.
Andrew on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, says, you can't tell me that Cam Ward isn't more ready mentally than Anthony Richardson. And Willie, as you pointed out yesterday, Anthony Richardson is 3 days older than Cam Ward.
That's correct.
And
their birthdays are 3 days apart.
And Anthony Richardson is about to enter, or has entered, his third NFL season. Cam Ward, of course, about to play his first NFL game tomorrow.
It really goes to the developmental track and what's the best way to go, because there's no minor league, right? Anthony Richardson was a high first-round pick who hadn't played much, but they bought into the tools and they felt like, hey, we'll teach him. It's like the guy. This is the beauty of minor league baseball. It really sifts through everybody and it refines the players. Kyler Murray could have been a great Major League Baseball player. Remember, the Oakland A's, at the time Oakland, paid him millions of dollars, and he was going to play for the Sounds. He was a great baseball player at Oklahoma, but he looked at it and he was like, okay, I could be a high first-round pick in football and go right to the bigs, be the man, or I could go through the minor leagues and see if I can hit well enough to hit big league pitching. And it looks like he at least made a choice that's been good. We'll never know how we would have done in baseball, but baseball weeds out and refines the game through the minor league practices much more so than football. And so that's what's interesting to me about the quarterback development part of this.
615-737-1025. We will take your thoughts on the Tennessee Titans, which we will get to in just a little bit. The preseason action last night. Any spam or prank situations that you would like to share with us? By the way, Wes in Clarksville says, back in the day, there was an app that would send like 1,000 texts to one number if you wanted. My buddy did that to me, and I couldn't use my phone for like 15 minutes. I was so mad. Randy says, if you ever want to prank someone, go to any insurance company and ask for a quote. Believe someone else's phone number. That person will get no less than 20 calls in the first 15 minutes. Their phone will explode for an hour plus.
Oh, wow. That's devilish right there.
Me reading that on the air is not me supporting this. I'm just sharing it with all of you. It's like signing a waiver. Like I'm just reading it. If you do it, don't blame it on me, even though I shared it with all of you. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we have finally watched some of Netflix's Any Given Saturday about the 2024 SEC football season. And I have a question for Commodores fans, specifically our very own Coach Willie. We'll get to that coming up next. 615-737-1025. This isn't just a concert, it's a cause. Trinetics Rock the Cradle helps give fragile newborns a stronger start and keeps moms close when it matters most. With Tim McGraw live on stage and your support behind every beat, Ascension St. Thomas is turning music into healing. Tickets are on sale now at rockthecradlenashville.org.
Derek Mason here, and if you've been injured in a motorcycle accident, go to lawtigers.com for your free case evaluation. Even if your accident was months ago, you have nothing to lose by calling Law Tigers for a free case evaluation. Insurance companies want to pay out as little as possible, or matter of fact, nothing at all. Law Tigers make sure you get the compensation you deserve and doesn't get paid until your case has been settled. They understand how much your bike gear is worth to you, so they will help you get it all repaired or better yet replaced. Law Tigers is the resource the motorcycle community turns to when in need. So whether it's to support an event or if they see you broken down on the side of the road, with Law Tigers, you'll never ride alone. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS or visit lawtigers.com. That's Law Tigers. It's powered by Freeman and Fusen, and you can find them in Nashville at 2126 21st Ave South. That's Law Tigers, Tennessee's motorcycle lawyers.
Listen, it's a locker room, but some of the things that are coming out are making you quite a popular or unpopular figure on social media, especially something you said right before the Tennessee game. And I wish I could quote you, but I probably wouldn't be sitting here in 5 minutes if I did. You were very strong. You used a few expletives, and I don't know if you know how many Tennessee fans have come after you on social media.
Well, honestly, we're in camp, so I'm not on social media too much. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't hear anything when we watched it as a team, so maybe I'll have to go back and check it out when I do get a Netflix account or so.
Yeah. Well, by the way, I shouldn't say this on live TV, but you're welcome to my Netflix account. You can have it. I don't hardly use it, so you
My
got
dog, I need that.
you got it. It's all yours.
Typical millennial.
He was like, my dog. Yes, I love it.
What you didn't see in that, what you didn't see, of course, because this is not a visual medium, is when Paul Feinbaum says to Diego Pavia, "You can have my next Netflix account." Pavia gives him a salute before saying, "My dog."
Hey, that's gold, man.
Yeah.
Netflix accounts, that's gold.
That's right. Get that password.
Mm-hmm.
Are they cracking down on that? Like
They are.
They tried
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
They're trying to. There's ways. Let me hush. Let me hush. Let me
Teammates,
hush.
don't get rid of,
Let
don't
me
give our
hush. Let me
secrets out
hush.
there.
Yes, let me hush.
Have I ever stolen somebody's password? I don't
I plead
think
the
so.
fifth.
You plead the fifth, Will.
I don't think I really, maybe once or twice on a one.
Yeah, you
I-
had to.
Have people stolen my password?
Of course.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
yes.
It works both ways. I borrow my parents' passwords for.
You still borrow your parents' passwords?
Can you let me finish? I says it works both ways. They share their password with me, and I share my passwords with them.
Okay.
So it's
reciprocal.
mutual.
It's
There we
all
go.
in the family.
It's
There we go.
mutual.
All right.
There are some streaming services that they have that they offer me their passwords, and then I have some that they don't have, and I give them mine.
It's a family affair.
Yeah.
There we go.
Teamwork.
Make the dream work.
Yeah. Just think I'm mooching off my parents.
Well, you kind of, sort of are.
They're mooching off me too. They want to watch Paramount Plus? They got to come to me. Anyway, so we've finally gotten around to watching Any Given Saturday, which is the Netflix docuseries about, of course, SEC football. Here's one thing I didn't realize until I started watching it.
Mhm.
There were 6 SEC schools who chose not to participate. Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, Missouri, and Oklahoma. Tennessee was the only college football playoff participant to allow Netflix to film. And Tennessee didn't have a huge presence in the show. They were featured in the final episode, which was the Vanderbilt-Tennessee game.
Mhm.
But Diego Pavia, because Texas and Georgia and Alabama and Ole Miss, among others, they weren't involved in this. It allowed Vanderbilt to be prominently featured, which means Diego Pavia was prominently featured. And there have been a lot of clips going around of Diego Pavia on Any Given Saturday, including David James, if you will. This clip that has gone viral and has pissed off a lot of Tennessee fans. We've cleaned it up for you. Here's Diego Pavia and Clark Lee on Any Given Saturday.
I want to beat Tennessee, and I need everyone to be on the same page.
We can beat Tennessee literally any given Saturday.
We're not leaving that stadium on Saturday without a win.
They think they're going to destroy us. Every single one of them dudes, we're going to win this game at all costs.
Now, of course, Vanderbilt did not win that game. They started off well,
Heck of a start.
Mm-hmm.
did not end well.
Cream rose to the top.
But that clip, did you notice he said the name of the show in that?
Any Given Saturday.
Any Given Saturday.
Mm.
But that clip has gone viral. It has ticked off a lot of Tennessee fans.
But okay, that was that episode I actually haven't got to yet. I watched about 5 of the episodes. I think the series is outstanding. It's a really, really good series. I learned a lot of things. I wasn't just one of those guys who cherry picked the Vanderbilt parts, although I did watch the Vanderbilt Alabama section first. I was pretty excited about that. That was fun.
I would like to mention our very own David James.
He's in there.
Was on Any Given Saturday.
He's in there.
Oh,
I made it.
cameo.
You're a star.
I'm a star, baby.
Star is born.
I got a photo of Jalen Milroe running in for a touchdown, but hey, that's all that mattered. I'm in the video.
There you go.
But that was a inner locker room thing, right? When he said that, when Pavia said that, that was like a.
Well, the Pavia part was one of those testimonials where he's doing the interview. The Clark Lee part was him speaking to the team.
So Pavia is, without a question, one of the 2 or 3, if not the top most compelling character that you see throughout the series, right? You always are leaning in to see what is he going to say next? What's going to do next? I like that his work ethic and his persona shines through, his influence on his teammates, but at the same time, he's doubled and tripled down on what this whole thing about bulletin board material, right? So whether you meant to tick off the Tennessee fans or you just meant that to be for your teammates, every Tennessee person, fan, player, coach has seen that. Just like there's a moment in the series where Vanderbilt's about to play at Auburn, and you don't hear the words being said, but Clark Lee relays to his team that an Auburn coach was firing up his players by saying, they're still Vanderbilt, we're still Auburn. And he takes it right into the locker room and he says, they disrespected you. And he relays the quote. So every team does that, but Diego Pavia is going to be the number 1 ranked bulletin board guy going into the season, and that is going to be the compelling part of the story for Vanderbilt football.
Well, here's my question. Here's my question for Coach Willie, not Willie Donick, Coach Willie. But you can answer it as both Coach Willie and Willie Donick if you'd like. Separate personalities, split personalities. Will Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt benefit from the buzz generated by any given Saturday? Or could it backfire? Because, as you said, Diego Pavia doubling and tripling down on the things that he said, on how high he is on Vanderbilt. We'll play a clip later of what he said to Paul Feinbaum, which even made Paul Feinbaum stop in his tracks for a minute. But you can answer it as Willie Donick, or you can answer it as Coach Willie.
Well, let me reference Coach Lee first, because you can tell when you hear Clark Lee, when he's asked about this, Clark Lee has struggled with this some, and he has come to the conclusion of, I have to let Diego Pavia be the person that he is, and he is a very unique person. So he's got to be willing to take the bulletin board material in exchange for the effect that he has had on the team. So I think that's going to be my Coach Willie answer. That would not be something that Coach Willie would go to my players and say, yeah, I want you guys to say whatever the heck you want to say. You say it. I don't care if it ends up on the bulletin board or not. I don't think you would do that. But if a guy like Pavia comes along, who is clearly the leader, the guy that makes the team go, I have to exchange whatever could happen as a result with this thing that he's got going. He has changed everything for that program. And I think what you have to hope for is down the road, that's going to end up attracting other interesting and good players to Vanderbilt that maybe would never have had Vanderbilt on the radar in the past. So I think the far-reaching effects far outweigh the bulletin board stuff for this year. But that being said, Coach Willie deep down is very, very worried and very curious to see if he can keep the edge, and also knowing that you're not going to sneak up on a single team that you play this year.
Quickly, can you explain for some of our new listeners the difference between Willie Donick and Coach Willie?
Well, Coach Willie is sort of a little bit of the old school coach that is very wary of giving any bulletin board material, any complacency, any disrespect to the opposition, any too big for your britches in your locker room, some traditions. And especially from a Vanderbilt perspective, I think the trap that a lot of Vanderbilt teams in any sport that you're talking about can fall into a trap either for a whole season or for a particular game or two of, as soon as you start to think you're too good, you're better than everybody else in this league, that's when you're ripe to get beat. And you have very little margin for error. So you've got to stay on edge. You've got to be the underdog. You've got to be the team with the chip on your shoulder every single time you go out there, especially in football.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a guy like Diego on your team. Actually, you need a guy like Diego on your team because he's sort of like the coach's alter ego. The coach has a message, but then Diego will translate that message to the team in his way once they're in the group in a huddle. Coach got this message. I need to find something within coach's message that I can really hone in on the fellas and get them going. This is authentic by him. This is why you can't change who he is, regardless
That's
of
a
what
key
he
word.
say. Yeah, what he says, how he says it, because he's all about competition. I don't think he says anything out of malice. I think he's just one of those guys. When you talk about a competitor, everybody says they want a competitor, but when they get a competitor, you got to take the things that comes with it. You know, sometimes the bad, but he's going to give you more good than anything. And I think that's what Diego Pavia, he's given them an identity that first started with Clark Lee. And again, he was able to take that identity and run with it and create something that the team just feeds off of now. So he's a good messenger for the head coach. And these guys, after watching that, man, these guys, it seems like these guys will run through a brick wall, really run through a brick wall for Diego Pavia because he would do it. This guy, he
Yes.
jimmied the door to the facility so he can get in and work out at 4 o'clock in the morning.
That is the law of the gym rat right there.
And we'll play that clip later.
So all the things that he's doing, it's like nothing but good is going to come out of it. They may not win a national championship, but this team is forever changed now that they've had Diego Pavia on their roster. This team, from the day he stepped on and showed who he was until Clark Lee is not there anymore. I think the personality, I think the culture has been set and it's going to continue to be fostered and nurtured. But he has, if he can get him another Diego, a little bit taller, maybe a nicer arm, I mean, the sky's the limit for Vandy.
I think that's a really good question is, has what Diego has done opened doors simply to get not only just more good players, but the next Diego, even though he may not be the same persona.
But with the fire,
and also more talented quarterbacks saying, yeah, I want to be the next Diego. When Netflix started doing this production, I guarantee you they didn't go into the season saying, hey, we're gonna have a lot of Vanderbilt in this. They probably were like, if Vanderbilt's okay, yeah, Vanderbilt's gonna let us access. It was, in reading the articles that have been written about this, it was a little happenstance that they were in Nashville the week of the Alabama game. You know, can you imagine Netflix going in, oh, you want us to cover Vanderbilt from the inside out the week they're playing Alabama? This is probably going to be a waste of time. But they were in there, and that ends up being incredibly valuable footage for Vanderbilt, right? Because now they can tell that story to all kinds of people across the country.
615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Will Diego Pavia's bravado backfire on the Commodores this football season? Do you find his swagger entertaining or annoying? Let us know. 615-737-1025. We will also share more of our thoughts on the series Any Given Saturday on Netflix. Coming up next, 1025 The Game and Souls for Souls have teamed up for a back-to-school fundraiser, Souls for the 615, to provide new shoes for kids experiencing homelessness in Nashville. Help a child in Middle Tennessee step into the new school year with confidence by donating $20 for a new pair of athletic shoes. For more information and to donate, visit thegamenashville.com/shoes. Souls for the 615 is sponsored by Macero and 12 South. Go check them out for handcrafted cocktails, bold plates, great happy hour, and elevated hospitality.
this year's just different. And I think we got the tools to offense and defensively to go really put our foot forward and go win the national championship.
I'm not trying to act like I didn't hear what you said. I did, but you're deadly serious, right?
Yeah, I wasn't cracking the joke. This is standard.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure you national championship. That takes a great deal. I feel like I'm just having a little fun with you here, but that's quite a statement. And by the way, I've heard your coach say the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, NIL even the playing field. You know what I mean, for a lot of teams, and we feel like we got offensively and defensively our A game versus anyone's. Like, I like my team. You ask me who the best wide receiver in the country is, I'm gonna tell you someone on my team. You ask me who the best O lineman is, I'm gonna tell you someone on my team. Same thing with safeties, DBs, everything.
Say what you will about Diego Pavia. The kid does not lack confidence.
He's really trying to change the narrative.
Yeah.
And so is Clark Lee. Clark Lee, before he had Diego Pavia, said, I want to have the best program in the country. Like, he said it before he ever coached a game, and then got drilled by, who is it, East Tennessee State in the very first game he played. It's like 24-3. They got crushed. And everyone's like, oh, you think it's going to be the best players in the country, right? Like, but they're trying to change the mindset. There's a point in the Alabama game where Clark Lee, Vanderbilt jumped out early, kind of shocked them, jumped up 14-0. All of a sudden, Alabama was like, whoa, we got a game here. Alabama works their way back in the game. They're within 2, and Clark Lee, who played at Vanderbilt, grew up in Nashville watching Vanderbilt. He's seen all the games that I've seen. And I would agree with them 100%. There was a mental barrier because they were not as talented in a lot of those years, where there just wasn't a belief that you could get through the tough times and beat the top teams. They're trying to change that, and part of that is just Diego Pavia has accelerated that belief throughout the program. Like, they think that they can beat anybody, and that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
And, like, one of the things that he said particularly, Pavia said, I hate this whole thing of, well, you can win this game, and this game, and then these 4 teams over here, you got no chance of winning those games. So you got to make sure you beat the teams you're supposed to, which I've said a million times on shows like this and in my 30 years of watching Vanderbilt football. Like, you can't slip up against the Georgia States, which they did last year and still got to a bowl game, but they believe they can beat anybody.
Yeah, and that's how you got to feel as a team, that you can go out there and compete. And he wants to leave this program better than what he got it, meaning Diego Pavia. He wants to leave the program better than what it was when he got there. And I think he's doing a good job from a mentality standpoint. Now, record-wise, you can say they are a better team, but this year I think it's going to be the year where he can really put a stamp on his 2 years here in Nashville over on the West End at Vandy, because they don't need to win a national championship. They just need to win enough games where they're still in the mix in the SEC. I'm not saying win. They need to still be talked about come week 8 and 9, like they were this past season. People are still talking about Vandy and what Diego Pavia was doing. Win or lose, they still was talking about the grit that he was playing with. If they can do that once again, I think he would have left this program better than what he received it, meaning Diego. So to me, if he says national championship, do I think they're gonna? That's a long, and I mean a long shot. But hey, you got to have that type of confidence in order to change a culture that has been like losing for the long. They had their periods here and there, but the program has been a not winning program.
Yeah, I think you have to set your goals high, even if it's really hard. I mean, only one team's going to win the national championship, but even if it seems out of reach, the mentality to maximize what you do have and believe you can beat every opponent, and not just let's say the 7 or 8 games where on paper you match up talent-wise a little bit more. The other thing that he mentioned that was interesting, NIL is a game changer. That's an interesting belief they had. That's another thing that the Netflix series gets into with Barton Simmons, the GM, who I've known for a long time. I've known him since he was in the 7th grade. But he said, we have to find the people that have a little chip on their shoulder and maybe weren't given the chance at the start. They have had to change their way of building it and using NIL smartly. And I don't know if that's ever, because all teams, I think, are going to get smarter on how they use the NIL. So I think how it evolves will be interesting in how Vanderbilt tries to keep up talent-wise. And have they closed the gap on some of the top teams?
Let's go to your reaction at 615-737-1025. Caleb on our text line says, it's crazy. He talked all that ish about Tennessee, went out and threw for 100 yards and got beat, and then doubled down on it on the Bussin' with the Boys podcast, knowing that the Netflix show was going to come out. Wild stuff, man. Skylar says, I hope Pavia and Vandy win it all, but sheesh, he's putting a target on him. And when he plays teams like Alabama and Tennessee, they are going to come after his ass, and I hope he backs it up. What record?
They're going to be frothing.
What record does Vandy need to have for Pavia to not look like a fool?
A winning record.
I think that is the story.
Yeah.
That's why I think, particularly with the drama coming out of Knoxville as well, and the state of the rivalry right now with baseball, the Tony Vitello factor, challenging the Tim Corbin establishment.
Mm-hmm.
Vanderbilt basketball has gotten back on the radar last year to try to challenge Tennessee's foothold and how successful they're. Vanderbilt's women's team has had some. I just think you have a great, compelling Vanderbilt-Tennessee rivalry that I think has got a spiciness that hasn't been there for a while. And so Pavia, whether the story ends up going really well or really poorly, it's going to be compelling to watch because I think it could go either way. Coach Willie definitely cringes and is very fearful of exactly what that guy said. He's become a target. He is going to be a target. There's no getting around it.
But he relishes that. You can tell.
Yes.
He relishes that. I believe it may have happened during SEC media days. I remember Chase and Big Joe talking about this when they were in Atlanta last month about Diego Pavia's confidence and his attitude in the huddle. And he said something like, hey, if all else fails, you guys got me. And I remember Joe Dubin loved that. We know that Diego Pavia does not lack confidence. Jonathan in East Nashville says, I enjoy Diego Spice. My man, anchor down. Diego doesn't care about your bulletin board. I haven't had this much fun with Vandy since that Vandy UT game when Cutler went off at Knoxville.
See, this is what the program needed. Someone to infuse a personality into it. No longer do you think of Vanderbilt as just the smart kids, the smart athletes. No, these guys are, they got personality. They want to become winners. They want to change the culture. They want to change the talk. Coming out of Vandy, out of Nashville about Vandy, and I think they're doing it to an extent. A lot of it depends on what he does and what the team does this year. But make no mistake, he has changed the conversation about Vandy moving forward in the town and throughout the SEC. Whether people believe him or not, the conversation is about what is Vandy going to do this season.
This is the tough part. And I've watched the history. Clark Lee knows the history. That's why he is going to continue to pound this into their head. They have no margin for error. They are, I think, on paper, just because I'm going by the number of critical players that were either new last year or a year younger last year and hadn't done anything. They bring back a lot more players that did something for last year's team. And so on paper, they should be better. But think about a couple of the games that they won last year. They beat Auburn at Auburn. Auburn had all kinds of field goal kicking problems, kickers that were sick or injured. Auburn had a lot of issues. And Vanderbilt did not go down there and pound them. They played smart, grinded out a win. Kentucky had a lot of kicking game problems, did a lot to shoot themselves in the foot in that game, and Vanderbilt took advantage and won the week after they beat Alabama. So that's just the razor's edge that they're playing with.
The old Vandy teams would have lost those games.
No question about it. But I would guess that there's going to be another series of very close games this year, and they're not going to overwhelm really anybody in the league. They're going to have to be super, super efficient. They've got to out execute. They've got to out scheme. And that's a tough road to hoe when you're just not going to be the more talented team almost any team you play against in the league.
By the way, Vanderbilt returns 78% of its offensive production this coming season. Craig on our text line says, I'm not a Vandy fan, but what is Pavia supposed to do? Say, I hope we go 6-6 and make the Bahamas Bowl? I mean, I've been to the Bahamas. The Bahamas is nice, but you want to aim higher than the Bahamas Bowl.
But with the difficulty of the schedule, if they were to go 6-6 and go to a bowl game again, I feel like that would not be the worst encore at all. That would be a solid encore. Now, remember James Franklin the first year at Vanderbilt, his very first year, they went 6-6, lost a bowl game, came back with back-to-back 9-win years, which was an incredible feat. That wasn't that long ago. So we know it can be done. Sustained success for a couple, 3 seasons. Even Derek Mason's teams, they had some struggling seasons, but they went to some bowl games, right? So this is a different era of Vanderbilt football than the 26 straight years I saw of never making a bowl game. But you're always going to have a thin margin for error. And they play a very, very difficult schedule this year, extremely difficult. So you could be better than you were last year and not have as good a record as you had last year.
John on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, says Pavia is trying to create relevance for himself beyond college because he has a slim chance of being drafted. Let him talk his ish. Now, I've responded to John asking him if he is a UT fan, because I want to get into this coming up next. 615-737-1025. The final episode of Any Given Saturday features the Vanderbilt-Tennessee game here in Nashville. Vanderbilt got off to a hot start. Tennessee ultimately prevailed. But I want to ask a question that I am 99.9% certain is going to tick off a lot of our listeners who are Volunteers fans. 615-737-1025. We'll do that next. Later today on ESPN 94.9 The Fan, the Nashville Sounds take on Jacksonville at First Horizon Park with first pitch at 6:35. Coverage is also available on the Game Nashville app and at theGameNashville.com. Sounds Baseball on ESPN 94.9 The Fan is presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure. D. Mace Finnegan and Donick 1025 The Game, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David James here with you. Ask D. Mace coming up in roughly 20 minutes. And we encourage your participation because I have a giveaway associated with Ask D. Mace. So if you want in on that, I will explain at the end of this segment, so you can get your questions in for Ask D. Mace coming up in the next segment. So I teased something, and then B-Man on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com, says, Adam, don't do that. B-Man has no idea what I'm about to do, but maybe he has a suspicion about what I'm about to do. So Tennessee and Vanderbilt will not face until the end of the regular season. We have to wait until November 29th, when Vanderbilt goes to Knoxville to take on the Volunteers. So we've got a minute or two or three until we see Tennessee and Vanderbilt on the football field. But I'm going to ask this question, and I know that it's going to drive a lot of Tennessee fans nuts, but I'm going to do it anyway because, again, I'm a fan of maximum chaos. You may have heard that about me. Are Vanderbilt and Tennessee closer than they appear this season? I'm not saying that Tennessee is the better team.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think the gap between Tennessee and Vanderbilt is that significant. Am I nuts for saying that? I know a lot of you are about to say yes, but let me go to Willie. Let's go to Willie first.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've been talking a lot about Diego Pavia. Willie, remember, a few weeks ago, we did this exercise. The Athletic ranked all 136 projected FBS starting quarterbacks. Diego Pavia ranked 15th. Joey Aguilar ranked 60th. And I know that Tennessee has a dominant defense, but their offense faces a ton of uncertainty. No more Nico Iamaleava, which means no more Iamale drama. No Dylan Sampson. The Volunteers lost their top 3 receivers and 4 starting offensive linemen. So that offense is a work in progress, to say the least. As I just said, Vanderbilt is returning 78% of its offensive production from last season. So again, Tennessee is the better team. But I don't think the gap is as wide between them as I think people would traditionally think. Am I completely off base by saying that?
Well, it depends on how far back you want to go. If you want to go back over the last 30 to 40 years, then I think definitely the answer is yes. I would say,
I'm speaking about this coming season specifically.
I'm talking about the general average gap between Vanderbilt's talent level and Tennessee's talent level.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, over the last 40 years, it's been considerably wider than it is this year. I don't think there's any question. There have been in the recent years, James Franklin's teams and Derek Mason, his teams had 3 wins over Tennessee, but Tennessee was down. Vanderbilt was a better version of themselves than they have been at times. But I think it's an interesting year because Tennessee made the playoffs last year, right? Their standard all of a sudden is back to where they have wanted it to be for a long time. They've gone through a pretty long stretch where they have not been considered a national contender, but their standard is back up to that level. And then they had this happen with Nico, and they are trying to replace some offensive linemen, et cetera. So I think the answer is yes, but I think we all want to see Aguilar play, right? I think Aguilar could be a big, or whoever ends up taking snaps for Tennessee, that's the key.
Yeah, it is going to be the key. I think because UT lost so many weapons, either through the draft or they chose to transfer. And 2 of the biggest notable ones were the quarterback and the receiver, Squirrel White. I think he transferred to, where did Squirrel White transfer to? Man, I forget the school. But then Nico obviously went to UCLA. Florida State, yes. And Nico goes to UCLA. Now, even though Nico didn't wow anyone last year, I think it still maybe end up being the biggest loss. I think second may be Squirrel White because he was a veteran guy on your team that knew the offense in and out. So these other young receivers are going to have to pick their game up. But I think UT may have lost too much at one time. And then if you don't know who your quarterback is, and Aguilar may turn out to be great. He's a transfer. He may turn out to be great. But if he doesn't, if he's just okay, then I think that battle between, Vandy and UT, I think for this year, I think it's more even than not. And I'm only talking this year. I'm not talking moving forward because, listen, in the world of NIL, your team can look one way one year, and you can be a whole different team the next year because guys are leaving, transferring other places. And then obviously you're getting transfers. And it seems like that's what's happening to UT. So it may be just this year that Vandy is a lot closer to UT from a football standpoint than not. But once they get in the season, that'll change. That'll tell the story, period. But if you're just looking at the two teams now, knowing what UT lost, knowing that it's a question mark at the quarterback position, I would tend to say that they're a little bit closer than what people may want to realize.
By the way, B-Man said, Adam, you aren't nuts. You are bonkers. Let's go to Adam from Portland on our phone line, driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com. Adam, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Adam, that's a good question. I don't think you're crazy at all. And the reason, Tennessee's better, but if you have a good quarterback and a good coach, it can close a lot of gaps and forgive a lot of problems that you have. And this is a question I'll ask you to answer your question. If you take Clark Lee and Diego Pavia and put them on Tennessee, how much better are they last year? And I think Heupel's good. I think him and Clark Lee are probably the same level, in my opinion. Pavia is so much better. So if you were to take them and put them on Tennessee, how far does Tennessee go last year?
It's a good question,
you,
but I think you have to factor in that Pavia is not the type of passer that Josh Heupel looks for. Like Pavia is not a fire the ball to the sideline slant. He is in the perfect offense for his skill set. Fair to say,
yes.
D. Mason. That's not exactly what Josh Heupel, I don't think, is looking for a quarterback. So I don't know if you would.
But I think he said if you take Clark Lee and put him in Tennessee.
So you're bringing the whole offense over?
No, just Pavia and Clark with what Tennessee had last year.
I think Heupel is a pretty good coach.
No, I think Heupel's a good coach, but I think also we're going to start to find out that Heupel's system do not draft a quarterback out of it. Just don't. It's not going to work out well for you, I don't think.
I think the question is for Tennessee. The offense faces a massive rebuild again. No Iamaliava, no Dylan Sampson. Top 3 receivers are gone. 4 offensive linemen are gone. The defense continues to be strong despite losing James Pierce and Omar Norman Lott. They still got Dramond McCoy, Joshua Josephs. Their defense is going to be very good. The question is, does that make up for the significant losses on the offensive end? While there is more continuity with Vanderbilt's offense, they have a top quarterback. They're bringing back a tight end in Eli Stowers. If you read mock drafts already for 2026, there are a lot of them that have Stowers as the first tight end drafted next year. So I'm just wondering, when you consider all of those things, if the gap is tighter than we traditionally believe.
Tighter, maybe. I still think Tennessee is at the forefront of resources, of NIL money. They're trying to overcome, in my mind, a bump in the road where you had something that was not expected. Losing your quarterback when they lost him, that was not something that they foresaw. But, replacing 4 offensive linemen, I think Tennessee is much better equipped to do that. I think Vanderbilt is going to be always relying on a Barton Simmons and Clark Lee, their eye for the talent, the Pavia types, right? The Eli Stowers types, who maybe were not eye-popping, obvious. I think Barton Simmons uses the term in the Netflix, we have to look past the obvious prospects. The obvious prospects are going to get gobbled up by Tennessee and Ohio State and Alabama, even with this run of success that they've had. They've still got to find the right fits, and they've got to be smart with their money, because even though they're in the NIL game much better now than they were a couple years ago, they were a year and a half behind everybody in the league with NIL. But That being said, I still don't think they're spending as much on players as Tennessee.
Let's go to James in Ashland City on our phone line, driven by Wilson County. Hunter.com. James, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Yes, I just want to. I know we're talking about Tennessee and comparing Vanderbilt. I want to just stand it out to the whole SEC. Here's what I know and what I don't know. What I do know is the following teams have returning quarterbacks in the SEC that I think that you have to account for giving them an edge. Sellers from South Carolina, Lagway from Florida, Diego for Vanderbilt. What we don't know is, and this applies to Georgia and Alabama, we don't know how good the quarterbacks for Georgia and Alabama, and we don't know who the quarterback right now for Tennessee is. There's no guarantee that it's Aguilar. Josh Heupel has made it clear that he's going to open up that quarterback competition. And Derek, you know this is the best thing to do, and the reason why is because it creates morale boosting in the locker room when you do that. You can't just crown one guy and say he's the starter. So we don't know what we have at Tennessee. What we do know is that the teams I just mentioned, in my opinion, you got to give them a little leg up. I don't follow recruiting and who transfer where to where, but getting back to what you guys are talking about, I definitely think that there's no receiver on Tennessee's team or tight end that's going to match what's his name on Vanderbilt's team. And I agree. I think Vanderbilt has closed the gap a lot, and I can't wait to watch that game. Love the show. Love the station. You guys have a great weekend and look forward to talking to you sometime next week.
Thanks, James.
Thank you, James.
This is my question along those lines. Pavia will have all the attention going into the season they didn't have last year. Also, their offense, I think, surprised a lot of teams. That was different. So now can they don't have that element of surprise on either front. Hey, Vanderbilt's better than you think they are, and they've got a scheme that had some deception to it. So what do they bring to the table this year? Is their overall talent level and experience level good enough to offset the fact that they don't have the deception and the sneak attack?
Well, I mean, they're not going to come at you the same way. They're not. They can't. I think Clark Lee it would be coaching malpractice if he came with the same sort of game plan this year. Why? Because people are looking for it now. Either you got to do it better or you got to change it up some. Diego has to find a way to beat teams through the air. He's going to have to figure that out.
They need another skill player too to emerge.
Absolutely. So I love the moxie. I love the toughness and tenacity that he shows. But if he doesn't develop a little bit more in the passing game, these defenses are too good. These coordinators, especially at the top end, are too good that they're going to figure it out. So I'm sure Clark Lee, they've tweaked that offense, and hopefully another year, this is Diego's offense, but if he can develop a little bit more as a passer, that allows Vanderbilt to do more on offense. Right now, everybody knows, like, okay, this is what he may throw 15, 20 times. This is what we just need to stop it. Well, they have to show more of a threat through the air. And it may end up being Stowers being the guy that just opens up the passing game for Vandy.
Let's go to Kyle on our phone line, driven by Wilson County, Hunter.com. Kyle, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Hey, guys. As a Vols fan, I do believe that Vandy is a little bit closer to Tennessee than normal years. But what does that really say about Vandy? I still believe that Tennessee's 2 or 3 touchdowns better if they play today. Hopefully, Pavia is healthy at the end of the season to play Tennessee if they're going to keep him running the ball so much. And as much as he's talked all season, I played safety back in the day. I loved it when other teams' offense, like running backs, quarterbacks, ran them out. You're going to get popped eventually. It just takes one good hit to knock some sense into you, man.
Thank you for the call, Kyle.
I think that's been a concern of mine from the start because Pavia,
he
doesn't shy away.
Yeah.
He doesn't shy away, and they have relied on him as a runner, and that's something Clark Lee has said, look, you've got to let him be himself. It's like with Tim Tebow. Boy, did they go to that well for a couple years. He ran the ball a lot, but his body held up. Pavia did get banged up during the season last year.
Yeah, he did.
So I think it's a legit question is, can he keep himself on the field?
I think if he's able to keep himself on the field, he's gonna be dealing with some type of injury, because it's just the nature one of the game, and then the style of play that he brings on the field. So he's going to be dealing with something. You just hope that it's not too debilitating where he can't give you majority of himself. He can't be himself out there. If he's hobbled with an ankle injury or something like that, he can't be the Diego Pavia that we've seen. So that's why I say Clark Lee, he has to change things up a little bit to keep the defense on their heels.
Let's go to Justin in Greenbrier on our text line, who says Willie doesn't want to say that Vandy is better because he doesn't want to jinx the season.
That's
Coach
Willie.
Look,
I like the Vanderbilt mentality of chip on your shoulder, underdog, and they have to keep that. I like the ambush. I like being the sneak attack team that's sneaky good. And that was what was fun about last year. So I always get a little bit jittery as Coach Willie when there's a lot of praise, especially knowing who you have to try to beat. You're trying to beat these. You got to go to Texas. You got to go to Alabama. These are tough teams. You could play a really good game and not be good enough to win that game.
No, you're right. So, I mean, Vandy have what they need, and they've added some more pieces, but can they still do some of the same things they were able to do last season? Because one thing I do know is if a team sees what you do and you do it effectively, best believe in the offseason, they're going to be preparing for just that. So I'm sure each team has ran through every play that Diego has played in the Vanderbilt uniform. And they want to make sure that if he does win you a game, then by golly, he was just that type of guy, because they're not going to allow him to do some of the things that he did last year, I don't think.
Gentry in Nashville says Squirrel White didn't do anything for us last year. Heupel has proven he can plug and play at quarterback. If you're giving Pavia credit for his razor-thin tight roping last year, you have to give Hype the benefit of the doubt that his quarterback situation isn't dire. And Tennessee didn't just prevail last year. They spotted Vandy 14 and scored nearly 40 unanswered on the road. Godspeed in Neyland.
They played really well last year. I was impressed. That was offensively, especially. I thought that was one of Tennessee's sharpest, and Nico in particular, one of his sharpest games.
They blitzed Vandy, and they had like 2 or 3 huge plays against Vandy. So maybe Vandy can stop those plays this year.
615-737-1025. We will continue to take your reaction. Are Vanderbilt and Tennessee football closer than they appear this season? We're going to pivot. We're going to bring in Chad Withrow coming up next. He knows a thing or two about Tennessee football. We'll ask him this question and many other questions coming up next. We will have Ask D-Mace a little bit later, but we are going to be joined next by Chad Withrow from Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow. Coming up next, 615-737-1025. This week's Nashville's best deal is Boomba's Pizza and Watch Bar. Award-winning gourmet pizzas, handcrafted beverages, and get swept up in the thrill of live sports at Boomba's Pizza and Watch Bar, your go-to spot for good times. Boomba's has locations in East Nashville, Spring Hill, and Murfreesboro, so get half off a $30 gift card now while supplies last at thegamenashville.com/deals. D. Mace Fingan and Donick 1025 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Bingen. Pleased to be joined on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, by Chad Withrow of Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow. Chad, so glad you can join us on DVD. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Hey, I appreciate you guys working with me time-wise. I've been listening to you, excited to join you in this new time slot. I heard Willie reference himself as Coach Willie earlier. I think very similarly about the teams I cover as Coach Willie, and unfortunately, Coach Chad, who coaches his 10-year-old daughter's travel softball team, has practice coming up in 1 hour. So it's constantly changing times and doing different things, and you guys know all about that. So I appreciate you working with me, and excited to talk about this topic you guys have been hitting.
Of course. So you know a thing or two about Tennessee football. So let me pose to you the question that we were just talking about. Are Vanderbilt and Tennessee football closer than they appear this coming season?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're closer. You know, how they both appear, I'm not so sure, because here's the thing with Vandy and Tennessee a year ago. Like, if you talk to a Tennessee fan and they act like they weren't scared to death of Vandy in that game, they're lying to you. The Tennessee fans were terrified of that game because all Vandy could do was wreck Tennessee's season, right? They had a home game. They had a chance to knock Tennessee out of the playoffs, and Tennessee fans were terrified of that game. And then the Vols start that game by spotting Vanderbilt 14 points on a kickoff return, a quick fumble, and a quick Vandy touchdown. Now, from that point on, Tennessee dominated. That game wasn't that close, and it certainly wasn't close after that 14-0 lead for Vandy. But the biggest part of it to me, guys, was Diego Pavia wasn't close to 100%. And I don't think he was in much of the month of November in last season. So the way they run him and the way they run that offense and the way he plays with such reckless abandon, I really have a hard time believing that Vandy's going to go to Knoxville at the end of the year and play Tennessee close in Neyland Stadium. Because I'm not sure Diego Pavia is going to make it through an entire season healthy enough to be that effective late in the year. He wasn't very effective against Tennessee at the end of the year last year at home, so I don't see that happening again. Now, on the Tennessee side of it, here's what's nuts to me, is they're preseason 18th in the country, and I know that the program is in a better spot than they've been in years, probably since 95 to 99, in terms of overall record and health of the program. The fact that we don't even know who their starting quarterback is, and their presumed starting quarterback left after spring practice after getting 100% of first-team reps. And yet everybody in the country still looks at Tennessee and says, oh, yeah, they're top 20. And I agree with them. Their defense is going to be really good. I think whoever Josh Heupel puts at quarterback, they're going to design a plan that's going to work for that quarterback well enough to be 8-4 or maybe 9-3 and be right around the top 20 in the country. So I think that's a really good sign for Tennessee. I think Vandy's a lot better. They're going to be fun to watch this year. But the same reasons Coach Willie is worried, I would be worried too about Vanderbilt in year 2 in this Diego Pavia offense.
Let's continue on Diego Pavia. I know that you have watched all of Any Given Saturday, the SEC football docuseries on Netflix. Diego Pavia is prominently featured in that series. A lot of sound bites that have already gone viral, especially a few comments he's made about Tennessee. Here's my question for you, Chad. Will Diego Pavia's bravado backfire on the Commodores? Because he has certainly put a target on his back with the comments he's made over the past number of months.
Absolutely not. I love Diego Pavia. That attitude is exactly what Vandy needed, and it's his attitude that's rubbed off on the rest of the team. And I think it's a big part of the reason, and the biggest part, that they were so successful a year ago. So, no, I think he gives them the swagger they need, the confidence they need, that chip on the shoulder. You know, Vandy last year, and by the way, I love the Vandy portions of that docuseries. Clark Lee was far and away the most likable coach of all of them that was featured. I love Diego Pavia. He sounds ridiculous at times, sure, but he believes it, and I believe that he believes it. And if you're being completely genuine, then I'm never going to criticize someone for doing that. And that's how I feel about Diego Pavia. It's exactly what Vanderbilt needed. He provided that spark for them. Now, the biggest comment from Pavia, everybody's talking about, you know, what he said about Tennessee or what he said at different points. The most under-discussed line from the whole series and I don't know about this, but when they were preparing for the Auburn game, he talked about the chip on his shoulder that he went to Auburn with New Mexico State, beat Hugh Freeze, and that Hugh Freeze didn't offer the scholarship and didn't want him to transfer to Auburn. And he said that would have been a tough offer to pass up if Auburn would have come after me. And that's what he was thinking going into that game is, I'm going to show this guy now with Vanderbilt that he made a mistake. I'm thinking about the bizarro world of college football. If Hugh Freeze would have said after that New Mexico State loss, man, this guy's really good. We need him. Let's bring him in. What Hugh Freeze's job situation would look like compared to Clark Lee's if Auburn would have gone all in on Diego Pavia instead of Vanderbilt. Because while he didn't outright say it, he pretty much said, yeah, if Auburn came calling, I'm probably at Auburn and not at Vanderbilt. But boy, what is Hugh Freeze's loss is Vanderbilt and Clark Lee's game.
The thing you got to love about Diego, he's going to be honest, Chad, and you would probably have never heard probably like 10 years ago, a guy at a university saying, man, I really wanted to, go to that university, or it would have been nice to, pass up. I don't know if I would have been able to pass up an offer from that university, but in today's society, these kids are open, and you got to love it with Diego. He is as open and honest, I think, as I've seen a quarterback, at least at Vandy has been. But looking at UT, Chad, I know that last year's offense, they averaged 35 points a game, which I believe was third in the SEC. The year before that, they were a little bit less. But the offense this past season, it just didn't, to me, it didn't resemble, even though it scored more points, it didn't resemble the offense of 2 years ago.
No, I totally agree. By the way, you're right on the honesty of Pavia.
Mm-hmm.
And you know the C-Mace, being around a lot of locker rooms that you were around throughout your college and pro career, you can tell when a guy's faking it.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell when a guy's genuine and real. Like, I've watched Pavia, and I think this guy's not faking it. There's no BS with him. He truly believes what he's saying, even if it sounds ridiculous to everyone else.
And it often does.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Like, I think he sounds ridiculous, but I'm like, I'd love for him to be my teammate. I'd love to go to war with that guy. That's the dude I want on my side if you're playing a sporting event. I'd love to play doubles ping pong with Diego Pavia with that attitude. I'd like my chances. We could play flip cup together, and he'd probably win too. But no, Tennessee's offense was not what it's been last year. But I think a lot of credit goes to Josh Heupel because they knew that Nico could only do so much and that his strengths were never going to be going through a progression. The way that Hendon Hooker, and I know that there's been a lot of talk about Tennessee's offense and Chris Collinsworth criticizing it and what Hendon Hooker looks like in the NFL, and some of that is definitely warranted. But I'll say when Hendon Hooker was Josh Heupel's quarterback, he could get to a second or third option. It wasn't always just look at one receiver and then take off running if he's not there. That's what it was with Nico a year ago. But Dylan Sampson was great. Tennessee's running backs, whoever's back there, has been really good under Heupel, and they really stressed the run game, and it worked in a lot of games last year. So I think that's really a sign of how good Josh Heupel can be. But no, I mean, I completely agree. They've been searching for Hendon Hooker, that type of quarterback, since he left. Joe Milton wasn't it. Nico certainly wasn't it. I don't think Joey Aguilar is going to be it. I don't know about Jake Merklinger. I don't know about George McIntyre. But one thing that we've seen from Heupel is the running backs are going to be productive, whoever he puts back there. And I think Tennessee's got some pretty good running backs, even though they're a little bit unproven this year. And I think that he can devise an offense that can get the most out of the quarterback. Here's what I want to see with this offense, though, D-Mace. Use the tight ends. They got some good tight ends. I think Miles Kitselman's really good. I think Deshaun Braum is going to be outstanding. They really need to get back to working the middle of the field, and that's something they didn't do at all with Nico.
Now, I found something very interesting in watching the Any Given Saturday. One of the episodes, it had Brian Kelly. Nobody likes Brian Kelly, but Brian Kelly was on there. But he said something interesting. He was talking to Trace Armstrong, who is his agent. And I think they were discussing Nussmeier. And then he gets off the phone. I guess, they said what they needed to say, and Nussmeier ended up staying. But I found it it was almost eye-opening in a sense that the coach is talking to his agent who represents the player on his team. Even though we know NIL is out there and agents are out there, to just see how a coach discusses that with his agent, knowing that his agent is his starting quarterback's agent.
Oh, that jumped out to me too.
Mhm.
I also noticed that on the time of the call on his car console, it was like 2 minutes and 14 seconds. That's how long the call lasted with Trace Armstrong. And it was a very short conversation. And Brian Kelly said something like, the guy's like, he said, yeah, I share an agent with my starting quarterback. And the guy said, yeah, that's interesting. He's like, yeah, it's certainly something. Definitely interesting. I'm thinking, yeah, conflict of interest is what it really is when you think about that. It's got to be maddening if you're a college coach that's used to a certain level of control to have to deal with your agent who's also repping your quarterback, knowing that your future the next season rests on that quarterback coming back to school and playing with you. I'm with you, D-Mace. That part jumped out to me too. But the fact they were able to get it done and that Garrett Nussmeier came back to LSU, that puts all the pressure on Brian Kelly now because there are no excuses for him. Everyone's expecting a national championship. Hell, Ed Orgeron won a national title at LSU. Les Miles won a national title. If those guys can win it, the expectation is for Brian Kelly to win one also. And now there are no excuses because his star quarterback is coming back. But that jumped off the screen to me too. Just the conflict of interest of what the current college game could be with these guys sharing agents, which happens in the NFL and other sports too.
Chad Withrow is with us. Hot Mic with Hutton and Withrow. You hear Jonathan Hutton on our show each week as well. Chad's going to be joining us here on DVD. So, Chad, another thing I was reading, because this is really compelling TV. I was binge watching, and I had no problem continuing to watch, although I have not gotten to the last episode where Vanderbilt gets beat by Tennessee. Wasn't in a hurry to watch that one for some reason. It was much more fun to watch episode 3.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Episode 3 was much better for me, the Alabama versus Vanderbilt. But there were a number of schools that chose not to let Netflix or whoever was doing this have the access. And I'm wondering what those schools will do if they come around again on this.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm shocked that Eli Drinkwitz wasn't a part of this. I don't know if he was given the opportunity, but I'm thinking that dude, you want to talk about the Diego Pavia of coaches that will say just anything that doesn't always sound the smartest. That's Eli Drinkwitz. I thought he was tailor-made for a series like this, but I don't know if he declined it or just wasn't offered. But I was surprised Missouri wasn't a part of this. Yeah, I think that once everybody watches it, they're going to see that no state secrets were shared and that it's okay to jump in the mix and join. And I hope that a lot more programs get involved. But I got to be honest with you, Vanderbilt was compelling. There was a short part about Kentucky that was probably the most boring part of the whole series. Tennessee was fine. Josh Heupel's never going to get you that excited, but I thought their portions of it were fine. There wasn't a lot of teams that really stood out in the series to me other than Vanderbilt. But I think the collection of all of them together made for some really entertaining episodes. I thought the Florida episode was pretty good too.
That was a good one. I did think that was good.
Florida Gators. Yeah, just to show that the whole arc of their season from, Billy Napier's definitely fired to, DJ Lagway may be the best quarterback in recent Florida history. And Billy Napier's got an exciting team coming back. To watch all of that take place was really cool. But yeah, I hope a lot more teams get involved. Texas would be a big one for them to land. The episode 6, which focuses on Texas and A&M and Ole Miss and Mississippi State. I thought it was a glaring absence that there was no Lane Kiffin or Steve Sarkisian in that episode, right? It was all about A&M and Jeff Lebby and Mississippi State. So I do hope that more get involved next year. And again, when you've got so much control over it, they're not going to share anything that's going to give away everything for your program. So I wish more coaches would show their actual personalities more and actually let us in a little bit more on their programs, because I don't think you're going to end up giving anything away, especially when you have the producer's cut of the episodes.
Chad, you've watched the rivalry for quite a while, not as long as I have. I guess I'm getting old, but what is your spiciness meter of the Vanderbilt-Tennessee rivalry, not for football, but across the board? I think of what Tony Vitello has done to spice up the baseball rivalry. You've got the Pavia factor in football that's definitely spiced it up. It could go any number of ways, but we know that's going to be sort of must watch if he's on the field and they're playing a game that has significance, and we think it will. And then the basketball has been interesting with the women's basketball team under Shea Ralph finally breaking through and beating the Vols a couple of times, the Lady Vols. And the basketball is always going to be compelling, I think, especially with Tennessee where they are. I think we're at a good meter right now with an actual rivalry, whereas sometimes some years it's not as exciting as it is right now.
Yeah, and Willie, when we were working together, like going back to the James Franklin years, I think the football part of it was the spiciest. When James Franklin was there and started winning games and competing with Tennessee, that's what's going to fire up the Tennessee fan base more than anything. Is when little brother starts beating you in football, then suddenly it's a rivalry. I felt that way about baseball. I mean, Tim Corbin is daddy of the state, right, to Tennessee until Tony Vitello got there. So when Vitello flipped it and started beating Vandy regularly, that became the spiciest in-state rivalry going, was Vitello versus Corbin. And now Corbin has wrestled some of that back, and it's a great rivalry once again. The other sports, I don't think football is as spicy as Vandy fans think it is. And I think when you get to episode 7, you'll see what I'm talking about. It was the perfect encapsulation of what Vandy and their fans feel about Tennessee versus what Tennessee and their fans feel about Vandy when Tennessee's winning in football. It's just a very different sense of anger between both fan bases. The basketball part of it, Vandy winning at Memorial last year, and then Jalen Carey being the biggest part of both games, played great in Knoxville, played maybe his best game in Nashville in the upset, and then he transferred to Tennessee. That's interesting to me. That's going to spice up the basketball side of it, that Rick Barnes went and got the guy who hurt them the most when they played Vanderbilt twice. I want to see what he looks like in Tennessee's rotation. But I think the basketball part is getting better because Byington's a really good coach. The women's part of it certainly getting better. But Willie, I've not always been a big college baseball guy. But I'll say the college baseball rivalry between Tennessee and Vandy, there's not many better in the sport. And I think it's been a ton of fun to watch. And both of those programs are so good. And now that Tennessee's putting major league talent out on the field, it's gotten that much better.
Chad Withrow of Hot Mic with Hutton and Withrow has been our guest on DVD. He will join us every Friday. Chad, have a great weekend, and we will chat next week.
This is going to be fun. I get to go back to being Coach Chad now, so I'll be listening to Coach Willie on the way to practice with you guys. So thank you
if
so
you
much.
need the Tom Avansky dynamic practice organization tape, the VHS. If you have a VHS at home, Chad, I'll pass along a copy. I used to work
Willie,
for Tom Avansky.
I keep threatening my family that I'm gonna order the bike coaches shorts off Amazon, and I'm gonna wear those, and I'm gonna have.
Don't do it.
Polyester specials.
Remember the hat Fred McGriff put on that he just took out of the box that was on top of his head?
Oh,
So
man, you got to wear some striped
I'm gonna
socks,
wear that
too.
hat to practice, too. It's going to be perfect.
All right. Try not
man.
to damage anyone's mind, Chad.
It's already damaged on my end, so we'll make it work.
Thanks, Chad.
Yep.
615-737-1025. We did pivot a little bit, so if you're wondering, Ask D-Mace will be at 5 o'clock, so I will let you know what the giveaway associated with Ask D-Mace is in the next segment. But Ask D-Mace starting at 5 o'clock. But coming up next, of course, the Tennessee Titans take the field tomorrow in the preseason against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We know we are all going to be paying attention to Cam Ward in his unofficial NFL debut. But which other Titans players will we be watching closely tomorrow in Tampa? We'll discuss that next. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. D-Mays, Fingan, and Donick 1025 the game. Interesting choice, David James. Really
and cheer some people up.
No, we're like cheers, man.
I love cheers.
We telling everybody, come on. Hey, we know your name. John, Phil, Samantha. We see you in your car listening.
Greg,
come
what's
on
going on,
in, Greg. Greg, you thought I missed you back there. Come on in. I see you in that third car, that Nissan. Come on in, buddy. We taking everybody. We're cheers.
Calm down, Joshua.
Do we have
he
a
wants
Cliff?
to get up in the front, man. Come on.
Do we have a Cliff Cleveland? Perhaps.
I don't know.
Maybe
we can get it.
We'll work on it.
Yeah.
So Ask D-Mace is coming up at 5 o'clock. I told you that we will have a prize associated with that, and I will let you know what that is at the end of this segment. But, of course, the Tennessee Titans are on the field for a preseason game tomorrow night in Tampa against the Buccaneers. And look, we all know that we are going to be focusing on Cam Ward. When our show comes on the air at 3 o'clock on Monday, we're going to be talking about Cam Ward. You're going to be talking about Cam Ward. Cam Ward. Marsha. Cam Ward.
Impressive that Adam, the youngest man on the panel, has the Brady Brady Bunch reference.
I shock you often with my deep pop culture knowledge of things that maybe were on before I was born, as I knock over Derek's empty Sprite can here. But let's talk about players other than Cam Ward who we are interested in monitoring tomorrow night in Tampa. So, Derek, excluding Cam Ward, who will you be watching closely when the Titans take on the Bucs tomorrow night?
I don't know if we will get a chance to see much of him. I think Corey Levin, for this reason, because Cushenberry is not going to be ready for the beginning of the season. And even when he gets ready, I think he's going to have to work his way into things. That injury, I predict it won't be until next year that he's truly back to form. So I'm going to be watching Corey Levin and that offensive line very carefully, because to me, that will allow Cam Ward to really sort of show who he can potentially be. If it looks like it did last year with the offensive line, then he has no chance. But I think starting with Corey Levin, because he is sort of the placeholder, and the center is very important to the well-being and the health of the quarterback. Pointing out things. He's a veteran guy. That's a quarterback. He can point out certain things. The quarterback may miss it. But he's your eyes. He's your extra set of eyes for the quarterback and your extra set of ears. So I'm going to be watching Corey Levin in our offensive line.
I'm going to take a little bit of the low-hanging fruit here. In the mini version of just the compelling thing that we're going to watch tonight with Shedeur, like, we're all going to be paying attention. I don't know if I'm going to tune in and watch every play, but we're all curious just to see if the story develops, that Shedeur Sanders, one way or the other, makes a big impression. So along those lines, I have to say Xavier Restrepo, right? I mean, there was all of this stuff for a non-drafted free agent wide receiver, and then the story behind it and everything like that. And Restrepo is likely to be in that position late in the game, where he's going up against the backups for the other team. He will not be in there when Cam Ward is in there. Very likely anyway. So can he show people that, hey, yeah, this was not some gimmick. This was not, hey, let me just, kowtow to Cam Ward or whatever was said at the time. Can he look like a legitimate guy out there? So that's one that I was looking at for sure. Just for the story purposes. I don't know if he's going to end up being a significant player for the Titans or not, but I think it would certainly do him well if he shows up, if he makes an impression.
A couple of weeks ago, we attempted to predict, before training camp started, our silliest storylines or controversies of Titans training camp. And mine was that Xavier Restrepo was going to have a breakout game against the Buccaneers, leading everyone to think that he's the second best receiver on the team behind Calvin Ridley. Now, that part's not going to happen. But I can't imagine Restrepo having a touchdown catch or a big catch or something like that and getting a lot of response on Monday about he needs more playing time. He should be running with the ones, not with Tim Boyle. So we'll see what happens. I think Xavier Restrepo is a good choice. I will stick with the receivers. I'm going to cheat and say both DK and Iomanner, because I agree with what Derek said yesterday when we were having this conversation. The Titans hope that DK and Iomanner grow with Cam Ward, that as Cam Ward matures, so do DK and Iomanner. And I am curious to see how they perform in their first preseason action, knowing that they're going to be in the Titans rotation. There are people who believe that at one point during the season, DK and Iomanner may overtake Tyler Lockett and Van Jefferson in the Titans rotation. So I am looking at DK and Iomanner specifically. Weston Hermitage says, all eyes are on Dan Moore. I don't believe it till I see it. That's a big one. Now, what didn't help Anthony Richardson last night, although, as we talked about at the beginning of the show, a lot of analysts say that it had nothing to do with the offensive line, that Richardson got smoked in that game last night. But I believe 3 starting offensive linemen did not play for the Colts last night in front of Anthony Richardson. I expect the starting offensive line for the Tennessee Titans to be out there when Cam Ward is out there. And I know that the Buccaneers aren't going to be fielding their best players, but Dan Moore is a good choice as well.
Another choice I would throw into the mix would be Oladejo, and then on the secondary side, just does anybody else jump in and look like they're getting a good edge rush, right? Because that's not really about scheme. I just want to see, can anybody look like they're having a good day beating their man, getting to the quarterback? Because that's such a huge question mark for this team.
And also, I think Gunnar Helm is going to get a lot of playing time. I think at least through the practices that we witnessed, it's clear that Wiley seems to be falling. Chig, obviously, is the starter. But I think Gunnar Helm is working his way up. So I expect him. That's another guy we need to watch in the game because what they were trying to do before they left here, and they were trying to hit Gunnar Helm in the back of the end zone in that seam route. That's what I envision. He's about 6'6", 6'7", maybe giving him some inches, but he's a tall, long body that can go up. He's shown he can go up and make the catch. I want to see how they use him in tomorrow's game up the middle. So that's another person I'm going to be watching.
615-737-1025. The Tennessee Titans take the field tomorrow against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I believe a 6:30 kickoff for that game. Cam Ward's unofficial NFL debut as he starts for the Titans against the Buccaneers. But it is 5 o'clock. It is Friday. It is time for Ask D-Mace. 615-737-1025. I said there was a prize, so here it is. The person who asks the best question to Derek during Ask D-Mace will win a pair of tickets to see Robert Randolph at Fog Street Lawn Club on August 15th, 1 week from today. So best question for Derek, the person who asks it, will win a pair of tickets to see Robert Randolph at Fog Street Lawn Club next Friday, August 15th. If you haven't done Ask D-Mace before, you can ask him a football question, a sports question. You can also ask him about life. Mostly everything is on the table. I do screen the questions, so be polite.
So do I.
Be polite, but mostly anything is on the table. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
He played 15 years in the NFL.
Quick throw. Touchdown, Derek Mason.
He had over 12,000 receiving yards.
Midfield, and there he goes. 80 yards for the touchdown.
And now you can ask him anything. Have a question about football or life? Now's your time to ask D-Mace.
We'll welcome you in.
Now, D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is time for Ask D-Mace on D-Mace, Vinkin, and Donick. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Willie Donick, Adam Vinkin, and of course, Derek Mason, because it's time for Ask D-Mace. Call us, text us, 615-737-1025. The listener who asks the best question to Derek Mason will win a pair of tickets to see Robert Randolph at the Fog Street Lawn Club next Friday, August 15th. So call us, text us, 615-737-1025. If you call us, make sure you give David James your phone number to call you back if Derek Mason picks your question. Let's start with Joey from Bellevue, who, by the way, says that last week you all picked me to be the most likely to cut myself while shaving my head. Did you say that?
We did.
Yeah, we did.
And it was unanimous.
Yeah, we did.
It was
unanimous. It wasn't just one person.
I have one thing to say to all of you. You're absolutely right. Happens all the time. Happens all the time. But Joey from Bellevue says, D-Mace, let's say your 102.5 The Game family is playing Family Feud. Who would you want to have on your team, and which two would you choose to win it all at the end?
Well, heck, I definitely.
Choosing the two.
I would definitely have
yeah.
you two guys.
How
So
many
that's three.
many people are on a
It's
Family
five,
Feud team?
I think. Is it five?
Five.
Yeah, so it'll be you two, so that's three of us.
Okay.
Nick,
Which Nick? Well,
Frazier.
We gotta have Frazier.
Yeah, Frazier. That's four. Dang it, who would be my last?
I guess he's the only Nick now.
Yeah, he's the only Nick. Big Joe Dubin.
Big Joe
Dubin.
Okay, and of those five,
I thought about
who would be the
Joe
final two?
Rexroad. My final two. Y'all two.
Okay.
Y'all two would be my final two.
I think we could do that.
Man, I'm
Y'all be
honored.
my final two.
I'm honored.
All right.
Now, who would be first? Adam, would you go first, and then I, that's you gotta come up with the second one. Like you use the one that your partner already used. You got to come up with another answer.
Mm-hmm.
I think you might be quicker than I am on that, so I will go first.
You'll go first,
and you follow up.
Okay.
How about
pressure? A little more pressure for the anchor man.
Let's go to Eli on our phone line, driven by Wilson County, Hyundai.com. Eli, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful Friday.
You as well.
My question for D-Mace would be, so I'm a wrestling coach at my local high school, and I don't know how much you guys know about wrestling season, but it goes from about mid-November to the end of February, right? It's a long, grinding season. Takes a lot of grit to get through it. And these kids, it just takes so much determination to try to get through it. And sometimes they go through burnout. So I want to know, what coaching words would D-Mace give to these kids to keep them going to try to make it to the state tournament and beyond, to just like break through that wall?
Oh, wow. With kids, I mean, goodness, that's probably the hardest of them all, to try to get kids to sort of get over that hump. The first thing I would do is I would make, I don't know how much fun you can make wrestling, but I would make it fun for them every day. Something different every day, so they don't get used to the same old, we're just doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this. Sometimes we're going to get off schedule a little bit. Sometimes we're going to do some different things just to keep them sort of engaged, because what I understand, and I've coached younger kids, is the attention span is only but so long, and you got to constantly do things to keep them engaged in whatever you're doing. But I mean, I would tell them like I would tell every kid, go out there, enjoy it, have fun. Let's persevere. Let's get through it. It's hard on everybody, but let's get through it. Let's enjoy the season. Let's have fun, but also let's go out there and try to win every wrestling match. But with kids, you gotta do different things with them within their own sport to keep them engaged. Because you're right, kids get, whether it's wrestling, basketball, football, kids get burnt out. and they need sort of that other outlet. You need to make things different for them each and every day at practice.
Neely on our text line has a dad joke for D-Mace.
Uh-oh.
Derek, did you hear the president is banning all pre-shredded cheese?
No.
He's going to make America great again.
That is a dad joke. I give it to you. I like that one. What else we got here?
One texter says, if Derek was the same age as Tyler Lockett is now, 33, and he was on the Titans this year, would he be wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2?
I wasn't wide receiver 2 until age 36, 37. That's when I became I actually went to wide receiver 3. I skipped the 2 because I went to New York and they already had 2 really good receivers. They were younger too, but I ended up being 3. So yeah, I'd have still been the number 1.
Well, let's just check. Derek Mason at age 33. 16 games played. Baltimore Ravens, 2007.
That may have been my off year.
103 catches.
Sounds off to me.
103 catches, a career high.
Yeah. So I
1,087 yards.
I still would have been a number 1 receiver.
Touchdowns. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. I'd have been in the mix.
Let's go to Hair Metal Henry on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunting.com. Hair Metal Henry, thank you for calling, my friend. Go ahead.
Afternoon, gentlemen. Hope everybody's doing well.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
So this is either going to be the absolute worst phone call in sports talk history or the absolute best call in sports talk history. But I'm sitting at the bar with my TSU friends, and I'm not going to say their names to protect the innocent, but we were legitimately having a heated argument over the best breakfast cereal. I said Boo Berry, she said Count Chocula, and he said Captain Crunch Crunch Berries. Derek, I need you to settle this argument and choose what. I need you to choose wisely, my friend. But what do you say?
He went with the same
Thank you, Henry.
family of cereals right there.
Yeah.
Where was Frankenberry?
I would have to. I mean, Boo Berry is good.
I heard Boo Berry.
Yeah, because that's more so like Halloween. That's more
and
so
Count
like
Chocula,
Halloween.
but not Frankenberry.
Yeah, Boo Berry is more Halloween. So if we were in that, October.
This is Frankenberry erasure, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to go with Captain Crunch. I'm going to have to go with the Captain Crunch. Crunch. Was it Crunch Berry?
Crunch Berries.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Crunch Berry.
That is important because the Crunch Berries are an added element. Because Captain Crunch on its own, pretty good.
Yeah.
But you throw the Crunch Berries in there.
Oh, even better, boy.
And then, of course, there's the spinoff, Oops All Berries. That's another Captain Crunch cereal. Oops All Berries. It's just the Crunch Berries.
Are you
no
serious?
Captain Crunch. Yes.
Oh man,
I've never heard of
too
that.
many berries.
Wow. Learn something new every day.
I didn't know that.
Me either.
Yes. Next time you go to the grocery store, I like to take a walk through the cereal aisle every time I'm in the grocery store, just to see what kind of cereal there is. And there are too many kinds. There are like 8 different kinds of Frosted Flakes now. By the way, that's my vote. Frosted Flakes.
I love Frosted Flakes too.
Frosted
But
Flakes.
he was saying I had to pick within
those three.
Yes. It'd be Crunch Berry.
My vote would be for Frosted Flakes.
Yes.
Let's go to Chris on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunting.com. Chris, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Hello, gentlemen. My question is, how does somebody like L'Jarius Sneed, when he hasn't practiced or done anything, how does he get into shape to go into a game, specifically hitting shape?
Thank you for the call, Chris.
Thank you for the call. That's going to be, one of the issues with him coming back is I'm sure he's working out because they said he's on pace to play the first game. That's what, is coming out of the building. So I take it he's still working out.
He's been on the side field kind of stuff.
So, but as far as the contact, you're right. That is one of those things that I would like for him to be out on the practice field before he actually plays in a game. And I'm talking about at least a week or 2, because even if he comes back, they're not going to let him play in the preseason. But him just getting those practice reps, getting, pushed and pulled and having to make sudden stops, all that stuff will help, him as he entered the first game. But if he, You know, if he's entering the first game and he only has that week before the first game to really get out there and go, I would be a little leery if I'm the Titans.
Let's go to Nate from Columbia on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. Nate, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
What's up, guys? I'm going to actually switch up my question a little bit. Derek, are there any teams that you wish you had played for in the NFL?
Oh, man.
Thanks, Nate.
Oh, man.
Can I guess one?
Yeah, go ahead.
And it may be hard for you to hear, considering you were a division rival. I could see you loving playing for the Steelers.
I would have. I definitely, because the Steelers, that was my personality. To the core, that was my person. Pittsburgh, I could have played there in the 60s. It's hard because, you know, I love playing for the Tennessee Titans. I'm happy they drafted me, honored that they drafted me. And then I'm honored that Baltimore thought enough of me to bring me in and had me a part of their organization. So I played for two wonderful organizations in my mind. I discount the other two, Houston and the Jets. But if I had an opportunity, like outside of Tennessee and Baltimore, probably Pittsburgh or Cleveland. I'm a Midwest guy, but I just love Cleveland, man. It's just something like I watch the old Cleveland Browns, and it's just something about the Cleveland Browns that I have a sort of this love affair with the Cleveland Browns football team. So I would have enjoyed playing for the Browns. Maybe not so much when they was losing, but when they were winning.
They did do a lot of losing.
Exactly.
Jason in Clarksville has a joke for you, Derek. Do you know what the hardest thing about being vegan is?
What's that?
Keeping it to yourself.
Okay. That was what you say, Willie? Wait. Yeah, that wasn't all the way dad joke.
It's not hitting me
because you're so ashamed of being vegan.
Oh,
you keep it to yourself.
See, you can't.
I know. When I was vegan,
because vegans always tell you that they're vegan. They always keep it to them. They don't never keep it to themselves.
You kind of have to, or else you're going to be served food that is not on the.
But
list.
like they're like, oh, I'm vegan. Like they always do like that. Oh, I'm vegan. So like they're like I'm. Okay. Look at me, I'm better than you. That's what
I have known many vegans from time to time, and yes, it's a thing.
May I share a quick?
It's a vegan.
Vegan, for those who don't know,
vegan,
not just vegetarian, but no animal products
at all. Yeah. Correct.
So they're better than you.
That's a hard life, boy.
So no cheese, no dairy.
That's a hard not life right there.
Yeah, it limits your choices.
As a reminder, 615-737-1025 if you have questions for Derek. The best question for Derek, the person who asks the question, will receive a pair of tickets to see Robert Randolph at the Fog Street Lawn Club next Friday, August 15th. Do you mind if I share a story about when I first started dating my wife? Speaking of veganism, when I met my wife, she didn't eat meat. Now she does, but she didn't at the time. And I remember when we first started dating, we brought in food from a nearby burger establishment, a local chain, and they mistakenly gave her a beef patty versus a veggie patty. So I had to call and explain the situation. And I didn't really know what to say because my wife and I were first dating, and you don't want to do the premature honey or the premature girlfriend. So all I could muster was my vegan guest.
Well, you didn't lie. You could have said my friend.
It was very awkward.
Friend.
I was like, I'm like, oh my God, what do I say? My vegan guest? Which she has not let me live down.
Oh, man. You could have just said friend, man.
Later.
You could have
said just said date.
But if you said friend, what if she, but then maybe.
Y'all are like sort of.
Right. But if you say friend at the time, she goes, wait, I thought we liked each other more than that. I'm just your friend? Like, that's another.
You put her in the friend zone, unbeknownst to her.
Right. You don't want to do that.
Only the vegan friend zone.
Larry David taught me, you don't do the premature honey. You don't call a girlfriend honey before you've really established the relationship. That could doom the relationship.
And we know Larry David has stepped in many a landmine.
Let's go to Marshall on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Marshall, thank you for waiting. Please go ahead.
Hey guys.
Hey, Marshall.
First of all, love that vegan joke. That was phenomenal. Everybody knows that person. So anyway, and Derek, I just kind of wanted to get your opinion on, and I'm not in the running for that whatever prize it is. But anyway, so I just kind of wanted to get your opinion on Mason Kinsey, because that is a guy who I have been rooting for however long he's been doing this thing with the Titans, past 100 years or whatever.
It does seem like that, doesn't it?
He that guy hustles, and I am shocked and disappointed every single year when he does not make the final cut. But anyway, so I'm really rooting for him this year, especially since the Titans kind of suck. They could use his help. But anyway, I just wanted to get your 2 cents on that. And thanks, guys. Appreciate the time.
Thanks,
Bye.
Marshall.
By the way, this is his 5th year.
Yes.
And he has played in 15 games total.
Yeah. Listen, Mason Kinsey is a really good story. A guy that comes into camp each and every year in shape, ready to go. He's not going to do bad in camp. He may just wow you at times, but he's just one of those fringe players. And it's unfortunate for him because it's going to take like injury after injury after injury, and then after another injury for him to possibly get an opportunity to get some real playing time. The only way he gets on the field now is if he really excels at special teams. I think he's a solid player, but I'm not sure how much he adds to your team. He's always going to be the bottom 10 guys, unfortunately. And then there's a bunch of guys around here, a bunch of guys in the league like that. And they last, some guys last 5, 6, 7 years by being each and every year the bottom 10 guys, especially now that the practice squad has been extended and you can put veteran guys on practice squad. So unless, there's some other injuries happen within this wide receiver core, but even that, they're going to bring somebody else in. So it's just unfortunate unless he can make a mark on special teams, because he's one of those guys that you truly like having on your team, because he's going to give you 100% in practice. And if you need him in a game on special teams, he's going to play that play like it's his last play. And if you need him on offense, he may not be a top 5 receiver, but when he gets in a game, you're going to get the best of him, whatever that is. So, I mean, I like Mason Kinsey, but unfortunately, he's always going to be like that bottom 5 to 10 guys fighting for a roster spot.
And so he is very likely to end up being on the practice squad
exactly.
again, right?
Yeah. So
and also the theme of the segment, he went to what college? Not Frankenberry, not Booberry, not Crunchberry, but just Berry College.
He went to Berry College?
He went to Berry College.
Just
I don't know if he majored in Frankenberry or Booberry. Berry.
Okay.
Berry College.
By the way, Hair Metal Henry has chimed back in. Says, well, never listening again based on the Booberry slander.
Hey, Hair Metal, we sorry, man, but they threw Captain Crunch in there. Crunch berries.
I'm just a little disappointed that neither of my co-hosts were familiar with Oops All Berries. We're going to have a conversation during the break. 615-737-1025. If you have a question for Derek, you can get them in now. We will do another segment of Ask D-Mace. Remember, the person who asks the best question to Derek, as chosen by Derek, will win a pair of tickets to see Robert Randolph at Fog Street Lawn Club next Friday, August 15th. Show is at 5 o'clock. So if you want tickets to see Robert Randolph, or you just want to ask Derek a question, 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. D-Mace Fingen and Donick 102.5 The Game.
If you went to the big sombrero back in the day, this is what you would be greeted with.
Hey, hey, Tampa Bay.
Hey, Tampa Bay. The Bucks know how to shine.
It's appropriate. Titans at Bucks tomorrow in the preseason
I
opener.
think they still play this. Maybe somebody can verify that. If you've been to a Bucks game recently, do they still go with that?
I'm sure there's a different reception to the song now back because they were losing back then.
Oh, man. I saw some rough Sundays when I was living in Orlando. That was a great high school thing to do. Hop in the car with your buddies, head to the big sombrero.
And watch the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
Steve
lose.
DeBerg, Vinny Testaverde, Jerry Goldstein.
Don't remember those days.
The throwing Samoan Jack Thompson.
Don't remember those days.
I never got to see Doug Williams.
You did?
Yeah, he was gone by the time I moved to Florida.
Jerry Goldstein sounds like my accountant.
He sounds like a lot of people's accountant.
Jerry Goldstein.
Jerry Goldstein.
I can make that
Or
joke.
your attorney, Jerry Goldstein.
Goldstein and Goldstein.
Jerry Goldstein defected from the Tampa Bay Bucks in the NFL, maybe because he didn't get a job or didn't do very well, but he went to the USFL and played for the Orlando Renegades, coached by Lee Corso.
There you go.
It was just Lee Corso's
Didn't do a whole lot
birthday.
better. Didn't do a whole lot better in the USFL.
Willie's moment in history. Brought to you by
Lee Corso turned 90 yesterday.
Unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
His final
Happy
college
birthday.
game day in a few
Happy
weeks, right?
belated birthday, Lee.
Let's go to Wes and Hermitage on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. Wes, thank you for waiting. Please go ahead.
Now, I know y'all didn't think y'all were going to get out of here on a Friday without a dad joke from me, right?
Let's do it.
Man, this one is absolutely terrible, but I wanted to do something new that I didn't think anybody would hear. So here we go. What does Jeff Bezos do before bed?
I don't know.
He puts his pajamas on.
It's the obvious answer.
That shouldn't be funny, but it is.
Yeah, when I read it, I laughed and was like, that's not funny, but I'm laughing. They got to hear this.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That was a dad joke.
My question, Derek, is something I've never asked before. I don't even know if this is allowed or not, but we're going to do it anyway. So after an in-person conversation with Big Joe, I have decided to start my first radio show on WSMR in the fall. My question to you guys is, what is the best way to grab the initial attention to listeners, but also keep them tuned in for a 2-hour show? Appreciate it.
Thanks, Wes.
Keep calling, Wes. Keep calling us. That's how you keep them tuned in for a 2-hour show. No, I mean, hell,
Willie is the
compelling. I
radio
mean, he's the radio
veteran.
expert. Willie looking at us like, man, just talk.
Is that a trick question?
Yeah. Just be
What's the
compelling.
question?
How do you keep listeners tuned in for 2 hours?
For 2 hours?
Yes.
We got
Compelling.
3 hours.
Like, yeah. Give them something they want to listen to.
Oh,
That's all, I guess.
We have thought about it. We are bringing our formula.
Mm-hmm.
I think the right ingredients, just like a good team, right? You have the
Yeah,
ingredients. You have a little bit of
absolutely.
fun. You have good analysis and insight.
Mm-hmm.
You have good opinions.
Dad jokes.
And occasional dad joke. Sure.
Don't take yourself so
We
serious.
speak all the languages.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's go to Jesse on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. Jesse, thank you for waiting. Please go ahead. Jesse, are you there, my friend?
Hello?
Yes.
Hi, Jesse.
Hey, it's Jeff. That's
Oh,
all right.
I'm sorry. It says Jesse. Sorry, Jeff. Please go
No
ahead,
problem.
Jeff.
That's on me.
Derek, thank you, man. You've been a great player for the Titans all these years. I've got a question up for you.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite quarterback was Steve McNair, Air McNair. You played 9 years with him in the league here in Tennessee, and you also played 7 years with Frank Wycheck, who I think was the best tight end we ever had. How did you deal with them passing away mentally and emotionally? What was your reaction to that?
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff, for your call. Both of them were in, ways that they passed in ways that we would have never thought, first and foremost. Both elicited a immediate emotional response. The same, because I played with both of them. I consider both of them friends. I got to know both of them more than just football players. Both of them hit hard in different ways. Even as I think about it now, because I think Frankie hit me different. And I'm tearing up even talking about it. But if for some reason Frankie just hit me different, than how Steve's did. It was hard with Steve, and then hearing everything that went on. But it was just, I don't know if it was how it happened, or Frankie was just my guy. Like, no matter what, Frank was my guy. And you couldn't say a bad thing about Frankie, at least, to me. But it just hit me different. I can't quite explain it, but it just, and I'm sure it hit a lot of our teammates, probably right around, because it just came out of nowhere. Like, and it was on a Sunday, at least when I got the information. It was on a Sunday morning. So it just hit different for whatever reason. It just hit different, but both of them were emotional, but both elicited different sort of emotional feelings, if that makes sense. So
one texter, and I guess this is a TikTok trend, I want to say, ask D-Mace what he considers the 4 major U.S. cities.
4 major U.S. cities.
The
4.
What?
Major, I would say New York.
Yes.
L.A.
Yes.
Chicago.
I would say so.
I mean, you can
usually
Detroit.
it's the 4th one that's up for grabs.
Yeah, Detroit you can throw in there. What else? Atlanta.
Some people are saying DC.
Yeah, DC.
Miami.
Yeah, there are. Yeah. So, but that's what I guess everybody would have the top 3, but then, like you said, it's that 4th one. Like, I'm gonna throw Detroit in there because I'm from the city.
How about you, Willie?
The 4 cities?
I guess this is a TikTok trend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't heard of
I'm
this
not
TikTok,
on TikTok.
Trend. I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, they've been asking like a lot of NFL players this question as well, college, but like it's a fun little thing,
okay,
to see what people think are the 4 major cities.
Give it a go, Willie. Why
New York, Boston, Chicago, Nashville.
Willie. Nah. I love Nashville, but it's not there yet.
As Rex,
and I don't want it to get there. I don't.
As Rex Road says, WHMR over there, Homer Radio. Billy Donick mentioning Nashville.
I don't want it to become those cities, man. Goodness.
I would say New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Boston's a good one. Part of me wants to say Dallas.
Dallas not. Dallas not. It's a growing city, but it's not a big city. Detroit's the biggest. I mean, come on, man.
San Francisco?
I haven't spent enough time in San Francisco.
I haven't either. I've been there a few times, but no, I don't consider San Francisco a big city. And maybe I'm wrong.
Philly? Anyone?
Yeah, Philly.
I'm not a huge Philly guy.
You're not?
I've just never vibed with the city.
No?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
But that's okay.
Well,
you never felt the love?
Who?
You never felt the love, Adam?
I've never felt the love in the city of brotherly love. Or as the random gentleman once told me, the city of brothers getting mugged. I've told this story. Do I need to share it again?
I think you did share that story.
Quickly, one time I was walking home with groceries. This is before I moved to Nashville. I was walking home with groceries and I had a huge bag, and my cream cheese fell out of the bag, Philadelphia cream cheese. So an older gentleman picked it up, brought it to me. I didn't realize I dropped it. And he's making small talk. And he looks at the cream cheese and goes, Philadelphia, huh? And I said, mm-hmm. He goes, the city of brotherly love. And I said, that's right. He goes, you know what I call it? What? The city of brothers getting mugged. And then he hands it to me and walks away. And that conversation still sticks with me more than 10 years later for some reason. Josh on our text line says, Willie and Derek not knowing about oops all berries, that's almost as bad as calling yellow Gatorade green.
Oh.
Now Josh has a question for Derek. Now with the
Yes.
new time slot, you get home probably after dinner time. So now that you're in the same boat as me, what do you do for dinner? And do your kids wait for you?
Well, my kids are grown, and they are they're not here in Nashville or in the state, period. So, you know, I typically eat a late lunch. And you guys see me eat my lunch
Well,
in here.
we didn't have a choice. So we
Yeah,
were at the midday.
exactly.
That was that to me is what's opened up this new. We could actually go to
Exactly,
lunch.
yeah.
You bring in so like every day. It's like, what's Derek gonna bring
I'm
in?
bringing different things. Yeah.
Sometimes he brings in like a grain bowl. The other day he brought in 3 cupcakes.
I hate them all.
And didn't
dude.
share them with either of us.
Yes.
Y'all could have had one. You know why? You know why I ate them so fast? Because one of y'all said, "What are you trying to do? A strawberry shortcake?" And I was thinking, like, "Ooh, strawberry shortcake." I didn't even think
Well,
about
you had
that.
the strawberries. It
Yeah.
looked like they had the the sugar coating on there, like it was part of
No,
it.
it was just I had to clean them, so that was the excess
Oh,
water.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But when y'all
They look
said
kinda
that,
shiny.
when y'all said that, I was like, "Ooh, yeah, let me eat it." It was good too, man. I'll bring y'all some cupcakes next week.
All right. Excellent participation, Derek. I know that you've been tracking all of the questions. Who wins the tickets to see Robert Randolph next Friday at Fog Street Lawn Club?
My man Jeff.
Jeff. All right, Jeff.
And we called him Jesse at first.
We called him Jesse. But Jeff wins the tickets. So Jeff, David James will be contacting you momentarily. Congratulations on winning tickets to see Robert Randolph at the Fog Street Lawn Club. We are going to do Ask D Mace every Friday at 5 o'clock, the perfect time on your commute home. 615-737-1025. We will wrap up the show as we do every week by taking it to the bank, and we'll also look ahead to the Titans preseason opener against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll do that next. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
Hey, Derek Mason here. You've heard me tell you about Dr. Lodge and his staff over at Cool Springs MD for some time. If you set out to lose weight, chances are it's not the first time setting a resolution to shed some extra pounds only to come up a little short. But I got some news for you, because at Cool Springs MD, Dr. Lodge and his team understands the frustration of this cycle, and that's why they offer a new approach to weight loss. Their comprehensive weight loss program is led by Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and addresses the root cause of weight gain with tailored nutrition, exercise, blood test supplements, and more. They will customize a program specific to you and you only. So connect with Dr. Lodge at CoolSpringsMD.com today to schedule your appointment for a personalized weight loss plan just for you. That's Cool Springs MD, where your weight loss journey becomes a success story.
D. Mace Fingan and Donick 102.5 The Game. Our last segment of the week. It's time to take it to the bank with our friends at F&M Bank. Banking made easy on purpose. Now, if you are unfamiliar with our program, at the end of every week, we will take it to the bank. We will make predictions about sports. Once the college football season rolls around, we're going to start keeping score. But since football season ended, hockey season ended, basketball season ended, we've been just having fun with it. But we will restart the competition in a couple of weeks. Derek Mason won last year. If I recall correctly, I jumped out to a big lead, but then I started sucking really, really bad. And then Derek was able to close the gap.
The cream rises to the top.
I've heard that once or twice. So just for fun, we're all going. Here's what I think we should do. I think we should make a prediction about the Tennessee Titans preseason game tomorrow. Titans at Buccaneers, 6:30 in Tampa. By the way, Titans favored by 3.5. So if you're betting on preseason games, again, you might want to rethink your priorities. But Titans are favored by 3.5.
How could it's interesting how they come up with the lines in general for these games?
Yes.
Aren't we all a little inquisitive of why they would be favored down there? Are the Bucs just not playing any of their people?
That's a good question.
And the Titans are? Like, the Titans have come out and said our starters are going to play.
Definitely.
I'm going to check this. I don't think many of the Bucs starters will play in the game tomorrow, but I will double check. Willie.
Or like, are the people that make the odds that smart that they know that the Titans' third stringers are better than the Bucs' third stringers? So, after analyzing the practice the other day.
So Kyle Trask will be starting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers tomorrow against the Tennessee Titans. Baker Mayfield is not expected to play.
I'm sure that's a big reason why.
Yes. Willie, why don't you start? Make a bold prediction about the Titans preseason game
I'm going to say over. I don't know if it's bold. I guess to be bold, I got to go one more catch than I was going to say. But I'll say over 3.5 catches for Bryce Oliver. I think Oliver is going to have a good game. He's a good player in these games. The question is, could he ever be a part of the real games, right? Because he always seems to impress when he's out there, especially, I don't want to say at garbage time, but like when he gets out there, it's usually not when the game's on the line, but he always catches the ball. I'm going to say over 3.5 catches for Bryce Oliver.
Derek?
I am going to go with, I'm going to stay in the receiver room, but I'm going to go over 4 catches for Porsche. I'm going
really?
Yes,
so that's
4 catches for James Porsche. Over 4 catches. 4 catches or more.
All right, so let's stay 3.5 is the over under.
Yeah, 3.5. Yeah, I'm going over because he's looked good in camp.
He has.
He's looked really good in camp.
And this is a question you always have because there's always that guy who seems to catch everything in the practices, and you're like, could he actually do that in a game?
Well, we'll see. Well, he's done it before in the game because he's a veteran, but still, I'm putting it at the over 3.5.
I'm not sure if this is a bold prediction, but I'll still make it. I assume he's going to play. So give me an interception from Jarvis Brownlee Jr. Jarvis Brownlee was jaw-jacking with Buccaneers fans at practice yesterday. He's going to get his revenge in a preseason game by intercepting Kyle Trask tomorrow.
Will he motion to the fans in any way after he makes this interception?
Definitely.
He'll do that thing where he runs the length of the field and hands a Buccaneers fan the football.
A Buccaneers fan, or do you think he'll find the one odd Titans fan?
He'll find one Titan fan.
Maybe he'll pretend to hand it to the Buccaneers fan and then
yank
pull it back.
I like that better.
Then give it to the Titans fan. So give me an interception for Jarvis Brownlee tomorrow. David, what do you think?
I'm thinking, because I'm a big Gunnar Helm fan. I think he's going to get 50 yards.
Okay.
Plus 50. Okay.
All right.
Plus
Now
50.
Here's the one. What would be the right over-under for the number of times one of the announcers says, so-and-so has had a, quote, Great camp.
I say the over 3.5.
I'd say it's at least 3.5, right?
At least, yeah.
I might go 4.5 as the over under. What do we think?
I would go over 4.5.
This means also, and I think we had Nick Frazier do
Hold
this
on.
in the past.
Okay, if
we have to actually keep track of this.
But if he repeats, or he or she, whoever's doing the game, if they repeat, he's had a great camp. About the same player, does that count?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, I think let's make it about different players.
Okay, all right, because they've been known to do that.
Well, because what will happen is you set it up. So and so's had a great camp, and then he makes a catch. I told you he's had a great camp. We told you.
See, that's
because
two.
you want to look smart as an
head coach
announcer,
is
so of course
insane.
you're going to let people know. But yeah, let's look for that. I want to say the two words have to be a great camp.
Great camp. Over under 3.5.
What about
over under 3.5? Okay, I will say over 3.5.
What about a synonym of great? What about impressive or good or breakout?
No, it has to be the
He's
word.
turned heads.
Well, then we would have to move it up. Then the number would have to be higher.
Okay, I mean we do appreciate good vocabulary on the
Yes.
show, so
Yes.
let's broaden it.
Let's say 5.5.
Okay, so 5.5.
Yes.
If it's not just the word great, it's anything that is a synonym of great.
I'll take
An
the
impressive
over.
camp.
I'll take
He's
the
been
over.
impressive so far. He's turned heads.
Oh yeah, I'm
at
definitely
camp.
taking over. We need to make it higher then.
7.5.
He's had a great camp. He's threatening to make this team.
7.5 it is. Bam.
That's final.
7.5 final.
7.5.
Eight,
All right.
8. Oh, going once. 8 going once. 8.5. 8.
I'll
8
take
going once.
7.5.
We close. We close.
Okay, now we have to collectively,
Okay.
because we may not all watch every minute of the 60 minutes, right?
Yes.
And we know it won't go to overtime because there was a tie
Yes.
last night
With no overtime.
with no overtime. But we have to figure out, we have to keep a running tally when we hear it, right?
Okay.
All right. I can do that.
Just so we know, because it's interesting, because that is always what happens, right? Even
he's
a
having a
guy,
great
he's having a
camp.
he's had a great camp.
Tremendous camp.
Listen, his head coach has said, he's doing really well. He's impressed him a lot.
I feel like the sideline reporter always is going to highlight somebody who has, quote, had a great camp.
I know they can't do this because most preseason broadcasts are produced by the team, but I would just love one time a sideline reporter to say, he's had a terrible camp. I don't know why he's on the field.
That's not going to happen with Charles Davis.
I don't know why he's on the field.
Charles is too positive a guy. He's a glass half full guy, which I can appreciate.
Yes.
So he is not going to say so-and-so has had a terrible camp.
All right. We
have one more thing we got to ask a question. I'll take it to the bank about Shedeur tonight.
Okay.
Right? Something we have to, what is going to happen? Is there something that will be said about Shedeur? Is there something we think he's going to do in the game? How do we think he's going to do? It's such a wild card in a preseason game, but what do we think we're going to see?
Shedeur Sanders will complete a pass of at least 30 yards.
30
through the air, not yards after catch. 30 air yards.
I think he's going to be efficient. That's what I'm calling for. He's going to be efficient. He's going to show the same things he showed at Colorado. He's going to read the defense. He's going to be efficient with the ball. And he's going to lead the scoring drive, at least one.
Willie?
I was trying to think of something fun that an announcer will say, a cliche about because of all the drama.
How many times will they bring up his dad? That's a good one.
How many times will the words Coach Prime be uttered on the broadcast?
Yes. Ooh.
I don't know if I'm going to watch that closely to really keep score on it, but I feel like it's got to be at least 3, right?
So let's say 3.5.
But it has to be, it's not just a reference to Dion. It's the words Coach Prime.
Yes, it has to be Coach Prime.
I would say, who's doing the game? Who's doing the game?
See, it's NFL Network has the game. So they're probably taking, right? They're
Yeah.
taking the feed of either.
So they go, yeah, it's going to be over 3 there.
Is it in Cleveland or are they taking the feed of the home team? I'm not sure who's the home team. I don't always know
It's
how
in
that
Carolina.
works.
Browns
Okay,
at Panthers.
so it may be the Carolina announcers. So they may, but they're still going to work Coach Prime in there. There's
they're
no
gonna work
question.
Prime in there. If not them, then the halftime crew is going to mention Coach Prime.
Well, because that will come back to the studio because they won't take the local feed. They'll come back to the
Exactly.
NFL Network studio for that.
Yeah. You know, Coach Prime was watching.
What did we call it? What
do
was
you
the
think
headline
Coach
for
Prime
the Wall
thought?
Street Journal yesterday
The
about tonight's
most
game?
meaningful, meaningless NFL game ever.
Ever. And there's been some meaningless games in the preseason.
Every
but
preseason
this
game
is the
is
most
meaningless.
meaningful.
The most meaningful, meaningless NFL game ever. Quickly, again, before we go, Titans at Buccaneers tomorrow. We're all going to be watching Cam Ward. When we come on the air at 3 o'clock on Monday, we're going to be talking Cam Ward. You all are going to be talking Cam Ward. What are our expectations for Cam Ward tomorrow? What do you hope to see from him in his unofficial NFL debut?
I hope to see what we saw in that 2-minute where he was precise. He was, dialed in. He went through his reads. He seemed easy in the pocket. That's what I want to see. They're going to be incomplete passes. There may even be an interception. But I want to see him lead a drive. Even if it ends up at 3 points, I want to see him lead a drive from the 20 or the 30 and to put his team in a position to score. That's what I want to see from him.
I want to see the timing. I want to see the timing of the plays look sharp. And if I see that, I'll feel pretty good because the Buccaneers, from what I know about their defense, even when they're playing their real guys, it's not an aggressive blitz happy team. So let's hope that they can take what the defense gives them and he can have some clean looking plays to instill a little bit of confidence. So timing, 1, 2, 3, get the ball out.
I'm just hoping that he has a solid performance because I can only imagine what the reaction will be if he doesn't. If Cam Ward has some struggles in this game, maybe he throws an interception, something like that. It's going to be I can't remember if it's DEFCON 1 is the highest.
It's the worst. Yeah,
yes.
that's the most dangerous.
Yes.
Is DEFCON 1, which it's so interesting you mentioned that because I watched the movie War Games and I had never seen it before. It's an 80s movie, kind of a movie of the times. And and they talk about that. And I was like, wait a minute, DEFCON 1, I thought it was DEFCON 5 was the worst because people commonly flip them.
Yes. It's going to be DEFCON 1 if Cam
But you
Ward,
love chaos, so you should be rooting for DEFCON 1.
Yeah.
I do love maximum chaos. That is true. But preseason games are ripe for overreaction. Just like practices are.
Of course.
If you think practices are ripe for overreaction, wait till you watch preseason games.
I'll never forget the first year of the Titans. Do you remember where you guys were the first year of the Titans in the Titans uniform? So not the Oilers, but it was a game at Arrowhead Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that game?
Yes.
It didn't go well.
No,
I think Steve McNair threw a pick 6, and boy, did we ever panic. I don't know if Steve McNair's the guy. I don't know. Let's go. And it turned out okay in 1999. Last I checked, that was a pretty good season.
Yeah, last I checked, did we go to Super Bowl? Yeah, we did.
But it was absolute panic on the show.
Preseason. Come
so
on,
I learned that year is like, we may not need to go too crazy.
You don't have to go nuclear. Okay.
Yeah.
There will be texts waiting for us. If Cam Ward struggles, there will be texts waiting for us at 3 o'clock. Should have taken the Giants offer. What are they doing?
Off of one game?
Yes.
I get it.
Have you met sports fans?
Nah, yeah, you're right about that.
Is short for fanatic. And fans don't think clearly. So.
And fickle.
Yes, they are fickle as well. And we're all sports fans. I'm a fickle sports fan. Derek is a fickle sports fan. Willie is. David is. We all are. That's why we love sports. But I'm just hoping for Cam Ward to have a solid, efficient performance so we are not all freaking the hell out on Monday at 3 o'clock. But that'll do it for us this week. A great first week at our new time slot from 3 to 6 p.m. We're glad that you joined us. We're happy to be here. We love accompanying you on your drive home. We will be back at 3 o'clock on Monday. Remember, Titans at Buccaneers tomorrow. I believe a 6:30 start. Cam Ward's unofficial NFL debut. We will all be watching. You will be watching. We'll break it down. 3 o'clock Monday. Have a great weekend.
Be loved, love on your people. Have a safe, blessed, and wonderful weekend. I love you and peace.